Today's union, that is a question we shall be exploring today. Is it matters to do with cultural, economic, or relational aspects that are killing marriages today? I'll be having that conversation with Cleopa Njiro, who is a counseling psychologist, Evangelist Rachel, who is a counselor and therapist, and Kevin Nyamache, who is a mental life coach and CEO of Edulite International, as well as William Deche, who is a psychologist. They will be joining me at around 9 a.m. to talk about this issue. So I invite you to tune in to this live broadcast. Marie,
yes,
what's going on in the world of news?
Yeah, a lot happening in the world of news. Politics definitely matters, security, and of course we'll be looking briefly at sports later on at the tail end of this bulletin. But right about now, let's begin with the news, where President William Ruto insists the government has released school capitation for the first and second terms and will soon release the monies for the third term. Speaking at a church service in Murang'a County, the head of state said his administration is focused on its mandate and will not be distracted by critics. Members of parliament accompanying the president rallied the electorate to remain behind the Kenya Kwanza's administration as it fulfills its promises.
Mimi nataka niwaeleze wale wanaongea mambo mingi. Pesa ya first term tulituma first term. Pesa ya second term tumetuma second term. Ile imebaki kabla ya third term kufunguliwa tutatuma pesa ya watoto wetu. We have made it deliberate. Haijafanyika siku ingine. Unajua siasa hii Kenya ni mingi na watu wa kuongea ni wengi, lakini watu wa kufanya kazi ni wachache. Wale wa maneno mingi ndio wanajaza maneno katika airwaves, mitandao na kule kwingine. But those ones, they don't bother us because we know what we are doing.
Kwa sababu huwezi sema hakuna kazi inafanywa na pahali unaishi unaona soko inajengwa. Pahali unaishi nyumba za affordable zinajengwa. Pahali unaishi barabara za maumau zinamalizwa. Na mimi nikasema, if you can't fight them,
na tunakuomba Your Excellency, usichoke kujenga makanisa. Tumeona umepigwa sana sababu ya kuenda makanisa, ukijenga kanisa na ukijenga nchi. Usichoke kuenda kanisa. When you complete the temples of the Lord you complete your houses, and the Lord you complete building the nation of Kenya because of aligning yourself to the church.
Sisi watu wa Murang'a tuko Singapore. Nyinyi mnakuja Singapore, sisi tuko Singapore. Tuko na modern market, tuko na barabara, tuko na milk coolers, uko ni Singapore.
Democracy for Citizens Party leader Rigathi Gachagua says his presidential candidature will not affect the unity of the opposition. Speaking during a church service at PCA Ilasit in Kajiado South, Kajiado County, the former deputy president said the opposition will ultimately agree on one candidate to face off with President William Ruto ahead of the 2027 general elections.
DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua, who is on a 3-day charm offensive in Kajiado County, attended a church service at PCA Ilasit in Kajiado South. Gachagua explained that his bid to vie for presidency in the next general elections will not be a dividing factor in the opposition, promising to support whichever candidate emerges the winner in the presidential nominations.
Mimi nina matumaini na ninaomba wateue mimi. Naona nimetosha. Lakini kama haitawezekana, isemekane ni mwingine ndio tuweze kutoa huyu jamaa, mimi nitamuunga mkono. So we want to clarify to the people of Kenya that our objective, our plan, our quest to have one single presidential candidate still stands.
The former deputy president then poked holes into the Kenya Kwanza administration's development agenda.
Mimi naona haya kwa sababu nilikuwa hapa tukitafuta urais, tukafanya promises mingi sana, na hizo promise bado timiza. Hii barabara ya kutoka Ilasit kwenda Taveta ni aibu kubwa kwa sababu ni jambo ambaye tuliahidi.
The DCP party leader also faulted a section of Kenya Kwanza leaders over what he termed as attempts to gag former President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Mimi nataka nimwambie Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, mimi mwenyewe na watu wangu tutamlinda. Hatutakubali Rais Uhuru Kenyatta atukanwe na mtu yeyote, kwa sababu yeye alifanya kazi yake na yeye apumzike akiwa nyumbani. Lakini hiyo si kusema tukimhitaji hatutaita yeye.
Elsewhere, the United Green Movement Party leader David Maraga has criticized the government over rising cases of political hooliganism, citing an incident in Seme where Siaya Governor James Orengo was ejected from a funeral ceremony.
Goons who can't allow Honorable Orengo to even mourn his friend's mother. And you know what they were chanting. I mean, nothing was done. The police, I saw the police there standing by, I mean, almost helpless. We can't have a country run like that.
Elsewhere, Olkalau by-election campaigns have intensified, with the pro-government team led by Nyandarua Woman Representative Faith Gitau and former Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria mobilizing support for the candidate who will win in the UDA nominations ahead of the mini-polls slated for July 16, 2026.
Sisi chama tawala tuko na candidates 10 of them, hata nimeona wengine wameongezeka hapa siku ya leo. Tuko na wengi sana, na wasihi na waomba tarehe 9 mujitokeze tufanye nominations, na nominations zetu zitakuwa free and fair.
Hakikisheni ya kwamba kiongozi ambaye mnaenda kuchagua atafanya kazi na serikali iliyoko, ili hii maendeleo yote ambayo tumekuja hapa kuwasaidieni. Kuwe na mtu ambaye atakuwa nyapara wenu, ambaye anafanya kazi pamoja na serikali iliyoko.
Kama kuna mtu ambaye anafikiria watu la eneo hili la Mount Kenya wanaweza kuwa wajinga, wao ndio walipika chakula, halafu ati waatie wengine wakule.
The mother of James Mutemi, the teenager who was hacked to death by alleged camel herders in Garissa-Kitui County amidst the Garissa-Kitui conflicts, wants justice for her 14-year-old son. However, the camel's owner, who has since been arrested after the herders disappeared, has offered to compensate for the lost life, that is. He's expected to be arraigned in court on Monday, that is today, and as Giverson Maina now reports, security agencies have ordered camel owners to mark their animals and provide identities of all their herders for easy trace in the event of a repeat incident.
The killing of 7 people in Kitui by alleged Garissa camel herders on 25th April sparked anger among community members, leaving another 8 dead in retaliatory attacks. However, it is the brutal murder of 14-year-old James Mutemi, a grade 7 learner in Gathungu, allegedly by herders, that fueled the conflict even further, causing demonstration and blockading of Nairobi-Mwingi Garissa Road.
In terms of deployment, we've taken management of the whole stretch from Mwingi up to Garissa.
This completely cut off the gateway to northeastern.
We at Kadhungu in Kitui County. These are some of the debris that the angry residents used to barricade the road, completely cutting off the transport system from Nairobi, Mwingi, all the way to Garissa.
Mwingi residents accused their neighbors in Garissa of holding illegal guns and want a disarmament drive conducted.
Kuna watu watakaa na mabuduki na wako around our area, na kuna wale ambao tuko tu watu wa kawaida, hatutembei na silaha yoyote.
According to me, buduki ni mali ya serikali, na kwa sasa hatujaona Somali yoyote ambaye amekamatwa. As we talk, wetu wamepelekwa prison, sijui la nikuuza sijui gapi.
Tunasisi serikali naomba itulinde na itulinde kamilifu, tusisikie jambo tena.
Wakubwa wetu kama Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka akae chini, Muliungi wakae chini, waongee hii kitu imalizike. Nduale wakae chini, hii kitu imalizike.
The vice has also sparked an uproar countrywide.
We demand an immediate end to the escalating tensions and targeted hostilities in various parts of the country, especially the border between Kitui, Tana River, and Garissa.
But the trespassing of herders into people's farms is not new. Dr. Caxton Munyoki, a farmer and a community leader in Kitui, says residents are expecting a bumper harvest and will not take lightly herders grazing animals in their farms.
Camel herders and locals conflict do really escalate at a time like now.
Sometimes, Munyoki says, herders claim to have mistaken crops for mere vegetation.
Sometimes they will say in Swahili, hii manyani ya Mungu tu, sisi hapana taka shamba, ngamia nakula manyani peke yake.
The signing of a peace accord by the governors of Kitui and Garissa counties has not appeased residents of Kadhongo area, who are still bitter over the killing of the boy. Although it was dark when we reached the area, they offered to take us to the thicket where he was killed by the camel herders. His body was found lying on logs he had prepared to burn for charcoal. 2 boys in his company escaped unhurt and reported the matter. At the nearby Gadhongoni police station, we found his mother pursuing justice. She was in deep pain. Speaking exclusively to KBC, she says James was her firstborn child.
Hata mimi nikienda kufanya kazi kwa mtu, ninafanyia sababu mtoto wangu akuwa mkubwa, hanisaidia. Lakini hata mimi nakisikia kama mimi naweza kukuba tu, mtoto wangu akibariki maisha.
She wants the killer promptly apprehended. But the owner of the camels, who was arrested in Nairobi, has reportedly apologized and offered to compensate and foot funeral expenses. He is expected to be charged in court on Monday. The herders, however, are said to have vanished into thin air, and the search is ongoing.
We are going to profile all the camel owners in this part of the country so that we know the owners. We want to know even the handlers themselves. If you change the handler, then you let us know.
And a multi-agency security team has intercepted a passenger bus ferrying ammunition along the Thika-Garissa highway. Officers manning a roadblock at Kanyonyo flagged down the bus belonging to Basker Limited, which was traveling from Lamu to Nairobi for routine inspection before discovering live ammunition, 2 empty AK-47 magazines and 2 machetes along a collection of government-related clothing items.
A routine inspection at the Kanyonyo roadblock along the Thika-Garissa highway unearthed a suspicious blue metallic box in the boot of a Basker Sacco bus registration number KCW208A. Upon opening the box, a haul of 19 rounds of 7.62 by 51mm G3 live ammunition, 116 rounds of 7.62 by 39mm AK live ammunition, 2 empty AK-47 magazines, 2 machetes, a complete set of GSU ceremonial attire, 2 GSU combat jackets, 3 jungle green trousers, a GSU red beret, among other items. Preliminary investigations indicate that the box had been booked as a parcel at the Mokowe booking office in Lamu County, destined for Nairobi with no sender details attached. The bus driver, Syed Abdul Razak Ahmed Abdullah, and the conductor, Bernard Ochieng Odhiambo, were subsequently arrested and escorted to the Kanyonyo police station, where they remain in custody as investigations continue. Authorities are now pursuing critical leads to unmask the individuals behind the consignment and dismantle a criminal network after the operation, which they say thwarted what could have been a serious security threat.
The death toll from the ongoing flash floods across the country has risen to 18. The government says most fatalities are attributed to drowning as heavy rains continue to wreak havoc in various counties. The government also announced the mapping of 59 flood-prone areas in Tana River County, warning of heightened risk as River Tana levels with all 7 dams in the Seven Forks Dam system reaching their full capacity.
As rains continue to pound in most parts of the country, the heavy downpour has already left a trail of destruction. National Police Service on its official X page has confirmed that 18 people have died from natural calamity. The mudslides reported in Kiambu, Tharaka Nithi and Elgeyo Marakwet counties that also displaced households and destroyed property. NPS also indicates that rescue operations continue as well as evacuations of persons in risk-prone areas. Tana River County is also witnessing the wrath of Mother Nature. This is the current situation at the River Tana. Rising water levels that have been attributed to waters flowing downstream from the upper regions. Already villages have been cut off, households submerged and families displaced. The Kenya Red Cross says some have been evacuated.
Sehemu za Nanigi tayari kunayo vijiji ambavyo vimezungukwa na maji na watu wako hapo ndani. Kwa hivyo wanahitaji msaada wa kidharura ili kuweza kutolewa katika sehemu ambazo zimezungukwa na maji kupelekwa katika sehemu za juu. Katika sehemu za Gofisha tayari walioathirika wote wamepelekwa katika sehemu za juu.
While rescued families are now seeking shelter at safer grounds, there is an urgent need for humanitarian support, including tents, food and other essential supplies amid an outbreak of waterborne diseases.
Tayari imethibitishwa katika zahanati za Nanigi ambapo watoto zaidi ya 10, takriban 12 hadi 15 wameripotiwa wako na ugonjwa wa kuharisha.
The public has been warned to remain vigilant and take precautionary measures, including moving to safer grounds, especially those in landslide and flood-prone areas.
Wakazi wa Tana River hivi sasa wasumbuliwi na mvua kali kama ilivyotarajiwa, lakini kinachowasumbua zaidi ni maji kutoka mlima Kenya na sehemu za Ukambani ambao inasababisha kiwango cha maji katika mto Tana kuweza kupanda juu. Kila kukicha maji ya mto Tana inaweza kupanda juu na hatimaye tunatarajia maji haya kuweza kuvunja kingo zake.
In Busia County, more than 350 households in Amukura West Ward are counting losses following devastating floods after River Malakisi and Malaba broke their banks, sweeping through homes and farms.
Sisi kama naamuka naona kuku kama nalia, kitu gani kuku nalia. Kumbe maji na jaa ndani ya nyumba. Akaanza kutoa vitu, hakuna kitu ya kusika yoyote. Nimekusiaua kuku yangu kufaranga 7.
Tuko kwa shida kubwa sana. Hatuna sahi kitu ya kukula, chakula yote imebebwa. Zile vitu zetu zilikuwa tunafuka zote zimebebwa na maji.
Families that have been displaced are now seeking shelter at Ondiria Primary School, with the area MCA Boniface Erute calling for humanitarian support for the affected families.
Watu hawajaweza kulala, wazee wameumia sana kwa sababu kuna wale umri zimeenda, imekuwa changamoto kwao zaidi. And I'm calling upon the office of the governor that is handling the issue of emergencies to step in with immediate effect. Nataka kuona hiyo usaidizi watu ya Mukura West wanapata, hata hapa ward jirani ya Teso Central, Malaba Central, pia wanaathirika pale ya Kriamas.
The Meteorological Department has warned of heavy rains in various parts of the country, including the Rift Valley, Lake Victoria region, Coast and the Upper Eastern region.
Residents from Dia constituency in Kirinyaga County have raised concerns over a spate of robberies targeting churches in the area after thieves raided at least 3 churches in Riakiania village and stole musical and sound equipment. Church officials said the break-ins happened on Saturday night with items worth thousands of shillings stolen, including microphones, mixers, keyboards and pianos.
The worship songs and dances during Sunday service were a little low-key at Fountain of Life Church International, Esikeria Kainia and St. Joseph Riakiania Catholic Church. This follows robbery incidents. At Fountain of Life Church International, the attackers gained entry through a window before accessing the storage room.
Tulipata wamevunja kanisa, sehemu ya kwanza wakaingia, wakashindwa kuingia kwa strong room. Wakarundi tena wakaingia pande ya pastor's office. Ndio walifaulu kuvunja hapo, wakaingia ndani, wakachukua microphone, receiver zake. Njoo hata kesho hatujui itaenda namna gani. Kesho ni siku ya Sunday. Kanisa letu ni kanisa la kiroho. Tunarukanga karibu tunafikia juu. Sasa hatujui kesho tutakuwa namna gani.
The robbers also raided St. Joseph Riakiania Catholic Church, where microphones, mixers and other electronics worth 500,000 shillings were lost.
Waliimba vitu za wimbo, waliimba vinanda, wakiimba keyboard,
na za dhamana ya shilingi zaidi ya 1500 hapa kwetu kanisani.
Kesho kutakuwaje kanisani?
Sasa kesho tuna huzuni mingi sana juu ile mahajam tunakuanga nayo tukiimba kwa kanisa nja. Kesho tunaona itakuwa imeboeka sana Murithi.
Tutapiga makofi.
Tutapiga tu makofi juu sasa vinanda hakuna.
ACK Rekiania Church was also attacked with electronics worth more than 250,000 shillings stolen.
Huko Kiamagunyi ACK kumeimbiwa microphone 4, receiver na keyboard. Tukihesabu hizo vitu ni kama 250.
Church leaders say the gang appears to be targeting sanctuaries of worship, with similar cases being reported in the constituency, prompting residents to call for swift action by security agencies.
And look now at news making headlines in the counties. As the world commemorates Press Freedom Day, media owners have been urged to prioritize the welfare and working conditions of journalists to ensure their safety and press freedom. Media Council of Kenya Chief Executive Officer Dr. David Omoyo says many journalists remain underpaid despite the demands of the profession. Let's get more details in the County News Roundup.
Speaking in Nakuru County during a luncheon with Nakuru journalists to mark World Press Freedom Day, Media Council of Kenya Chief Executive Officer Dr. David Omoyo cited poor pay, closure of regional offices and unfavorable working conditions as major threats to press freedom.
Without favorable working conditions, you can't then trust them to protect press freedom. Media houses closing regional offices and all that. So journalists are left at the mercy of operating from corridors and all that. As a media council, we are trying our best. We have set up 7 media hubs, which is a collaborative working space. Journalists from all media houses can come find a place to work from.
Write objectively. And that way, as a journalist, your honor, your professionalism, your impartiality will not be in doubt.
And residents of Mount Elgon are calling for the restoration of peace after a middle-aged man was attacked by unknown men, sustaining deep cuts on his head at Cheptonon Kosiro Trading Center.
Nilikuwa napita tu nikienda nyumbani, nilikuja hapa kwa ndugu yangu hapa kwa COG hapa. Ile nilitoka nikanunua mayai ngapi 4 na nikaenda naye. Tulikuwa na vijana yangu ile watu
cut the a lot of issues about the security, but there's nobody who's addressing it.
Elsewhere, Embu Senator Alexander Mundigi has assured macadamia farmers of an end to poor market prices and broke exploitation through the Nuts and Oil Crops Development Bill 2023, currently under review at the Senate.
Wakati tulichaguliwa makandamia ilikuwa imetoka ile pesa ya juu ikarundi chini kwa shilingi 30, lakini sasa tumepambana mpaka ikafika shilingi 100, lakini tunataka tutengeneze bill ambayo ya variation kama kilimo ile ingine.
Machakos Governor Wavinya Ndeti has challenged President William Ruto to review taxes to ease the high cost of living in the country.
Nataka kumshukuru Rais leo amepandisha mishahara kwa wafanyikazi. Hiyo ni kitu ya muhimu sana. Kwa sababu maisha ni ngumu sana. Lakini yeye akipandisha mishahara na muuliza na yeye aongeze pesa kwa county. Kwa sababu akipandisha na akataa kutuwekea pesa sisi kama magavana, hii pesa ya mishahara sasa itakula pesa ya development.
Finally, Teso South Member of Parliament Mary Emase has accused the Democratic for Citizens Party leader Rigathi Gachagua of engaging in politics without a clear agenda and attempting to sabotage the Kenya Kwanza administration.
Na mimi Busia hata nimeshangaa. Hizo miaka zingine zote si serikali ilikuwa. Mbona Busia tulikuwa tupate maendeleo? Hii serikali peke yake ndio imetukumbuka hii ya William Samoei Ruto.
The legislator was speaking at Angorom Catholic Church during a fundraiser for the construction of the church.
I look at sports now, where the Team Kenya missed a medal in the final of the 4x4 meters relay mixed final on the last day of the World Athletics Relay, which ended yesterday in Gaborone, Botswana. The Kenyan team of George Mutinda, Mercy Chebet, Kelvin Kiprotich, and Mercy Okech finished fourth in the final behind winners United States, Jamaica, and Great Britain, who finished second and third respectively. However, the Kenyan team had already qualified to the World Championship after finishing second in the first round of the qualifiers.
After finishing second in the first round of qualifiers and booking their place in the World Championship, the 4x400 meter relay mixed Kenyan team came into the final against United States, Jamaica, Great Britain, Italy, Spain, Australia and Poland, hoping to go one better and bring home a medal from Gaborone. And although the team started well, they fell short of a medal as they crossed the line in fourth position behind United States and Jamaica and Great Britain in a time of 3 minutes 09.93 seconds. The other Kenyan team of Marco Tieno, Ronald Kiprono, Meshak Babu and Ferdinando Manyala also raced to fourth position in the second round of qualifiers in a national record time but missed a chance of competing at the World Championship in the 4x100 meters relay men. The team of Moses Onyango, Millicent Doro, Dennis Moya and Eunice Kadogo did not qualify also to the World Championship in the 4x100 meters relay mixed after finishing 13th overall in the World Championship, qualifying round 2. Neither did the team of Lanolin Aoko, Helen Siombua, Margaret Naserian and Maureen Nanjala secure a ticket to the Global Championship in the 4x400 meter relay women after finishing 8th overall in round 2 of the qualifiers. Dennis Masika, Danson Kibet, Erastus Mbaluka and Kevin Kip Correa will not be going to the World Championship either after finishing 12th overall in the 4x400 meter relay men.
And on that sporting note, we bring the news to an end this morning. As always, thank you so much for your time and your company. More news to follow during the day. My name is Mariam. Of course, my colleagues, that is Victor Olo and Mike Megui, will be here to steer you through the rest of Good Morning Kenya. Have a blessed day.
Home precautions. Protect your home, protect your family. Switch off electricity at the main switch if water levels rise. Store drinking water in clean containers. Keep emergency supplies, torch, first aid kit, radio within reach. Avoid staying in flooded rooms. Move to higher ground. In case of emergency, call the numbers on your screen.
Na vitimbi same time ni ya kuwachekesha wananchi. Kweli? Wananchi wanacheka na huku tunawaelimisha, wanaelewa. Mwogaka kwani wewe but kwa vile sisi ni vio za jamii, ukage ukijua vitimbi ni nini?
Nikiona mocha imevunjika.
Kitchen's big. Cooking, it's got everything. South-facing, big floor-to-ceiling windows. Take a look.
It kind of seems like you're living here, too.
Does it?
What's wrong with your leg? I was in a hurry. I tripped over. It's New Year's. Why were you in a hurry?
Take it easy. It's not worth getting hurt.
Can't you stop looking at your phone? Everyone's eating. Why are you so busy?
Your girlfriend's gone. Forget about your stocks.
It's fine.
Good morning and welcome back. It's now a minute past 7 a.m. Good morning. This is beautiful Monday morning. My name is Victor Lo. It's Eye on Politics on this beautiful 4th day of May 2026. Let's take a look at what's happening in the world of politics. As usual, being a Monday is Eye on Politics, and I want us to get through it and get to understand what really happened over the weekend and what's going to happen in the coming days. So today I want us to take a look at what is the political outlook in the country, and the temperatures are building and rising, pole pole, as they would say, and that is how it's going to be until we hit the next general election come 2027. That is going to be our topic of discussion, political outlook. I'm joined by Oscar Mondi. Oscar Mondi is a political and governance expert. He's also a university don. I'm waiting for Mheshimiwa Francis Mwangangi, who is the Deputy Governor of Machakos, and Ambassador Dr. Richard Busit to join us shortly. All right. Let me take you through the front page of the local dailies before we get to a discussion. For that, Oscar, good morning.
Good morning, Victor, and how was your weekend?
So far, so good.
Thank you very much.
Arsenal won.
Yeah, Arsenal won, but I don't know if they will win the league. I don't know.
What did you say?
I don't know if they will win the league. I mean, Man City is two more games away, so Arsenal might not win.
We started this discussion very well. Unaribu.
Yeah, I'm telling you the truth. I mean, the reality is that, you know, when Arsenal wants to win the league, there's like, if Man City loses that one, then if Manchester United loses that one, then they draw that one, then we win it. You know, you cannot win it like that all the time. You should just win it by at least 5 games to the end. You have 20 points ahead.
With three to go, right?
3 to go. I mean, it's going to the wire. Yeah, it's going to the wire. So
okay.
With a lot of pressure, you know, Arsenal is also playing again in Champions League, so the pressure is too much for them. I don't know if they will.
And even Man City, they also have matches. Apart from the other team, which rests for 92 days, then plays one match.
When Arsenal was given the transfer window, they never made use of it. I think Manchester City reinforced the team during the transfer window. All these teams were struggling at the beginning.
We had enough squad depth. We have.
Are you Arsenal?
Yeah, we have a very good squad depth, apart from some of the injuries we suffered.
Saka is back. I never win debate against Arsenal fans. So it's fine.
Let's take a look at what's on the front page of local dailies. But there is a Chelsea fan, so we understand. On the front page of the Star newspaper, 5% tax for Mitumba 2026 finance bill. 5% tax for Mitumba in 2026 finance bill. Importers to pay tax income before goods are released. That is what's on the front page of the Star newspaper. Importers will have to pay income tax before goods are released. That is 5% on Mitumba to be introduced in the 2026 finance bill. And there's a story here about government now terminates Raila pension packs. That is months after the former premier passed on, and the law says that the spouse of the state officer now is entitled to 50% of the packs that the former premier was receiving, and there the former prime minister's widow Ida Odinga to receive for her lifetime half of what he earned as pension. That is what is here. That's according to the papers, which are from the latest from the National Treasury, which has disclosed that the state will no longer facilitate the packs provided under the retirement benefits law for former prime ministers, vice president, and other designated state officers in relation to Raila. Okay, there is a story here about heavy rains spread misery across capital city. It is going to continue for some time. Ruto to root for fairness at G7 meeting in France come June. President William Ruto will carry Africa's voice and resolutions to be made at the Africa Forward Summit starting in Nairobi next Monday to the G7 meeting in Evian, France. So that is what is here. All right, what we have on the front page of the Standard, Ruto's bogeyman. That is what I have here. Ruto's bogeyman. Okay, and the gentleman is former President Uhuru Kenyatta. And the Standard says that, so is it a case of a scapegoat? According to the Standard, that with Mount Kenya voting bloc seemingly defiant towards President Ruto's 2027 re-election, Ruto's point men have now turned their anger and frustration on retired President Uhuru Kenyatta in what is becoming the norm The Ruto administration has now made Uhuru its punching bag whenever it's under pressure from Kenyans to deliver on their promises in an attempt to deflect attention. And during the weekend, the Kenya Kwanza wingmen went all out with a barrage of criticism and threats on Uhuru, a clear indication of a rattled and unsettled team coming to terms with the fact that the vote-rich region is slipping away right before their eyes. That is what I have here on the front page of the Standard. Is he a boogeyman? Ruto's boogeyman?
I don't know what the issue is on this one, because, for example, if Mount Kenya leaves Ruto, they leave Ruto for who? Who is running against Ruto? Nobody. Nobody. And you can ask Stedman or Infotrack. By this time, normally, Infotrack or Stedman or Ipsos, they call it, always run campaigns, opinion polls asking, in case a vote is taken today, who will you vote for as the president? They can't run it. Infotrack cannot run, Ipsos cannot run. Nobody can run that type of poll. You know very well, 1 year to election, we've always known all along for the last 20 years, for the last 4 elections, 1 year to elections, they're always busy running polls asking, in case the vote is taken today, whom will you vote for? Why haven't they run it this time round? Because there's nobody running against the President William Ruto. And now we cannot collect that type of opinion poll. So whether it's boogeyman or not, and I don't know, when you told me you're going to discuss about Uhuru Kenyatta, I thought we're going to discuss history. I thought he retired. You know, when you retire as president and you want to participate in contemporary politics, it brings even more confusion, not even to Ruto's stronghold, I think even to Mount Kenya itself. Yeah. Because even Uhuru Kenyatta, I think he says that he's in support of his candidate, which is Matiang'i. And you know, the politics of this country is people vote according to ethnic groups and tribal lines. DCP is a Mount Kenya party, and I don't know how you will mix Jubilee with a party candidate from a different community. It's a chaos. It's chaos.
President Uhuru Kenyatta, former president, he said that he has got all the freedom under the Constitution to speak. I even gave a classic example of President Barack Obama, who continues to champion for the stability of the party he belongs to in the US. And nobody has ever told him to go home and keep quiet.
I think your guests, you might probably one of your guests will be a legal practitioner. I'm not a legal practitioner. I'm a political scientist. Politically, it is wrong. Legally, it's okay. Freedom of speech for everybody. Legally, it's okay. But politically, if he compares himself to like Barack Obama, I don't know what Barack Obama is doing. Barack Obama is promoting some other things. Like
so legally it is okay? Legally,
I think.
Politically, not.
But again, legally, I think it's written in our document that you should not participate in day-to-day politics. But it's not well-defined. You know, some of these things are not well-defined in the Constitution. Because when you tell somebody doesn't have to participate in politics, does it mean that they don't have to talk?
The key word is day-to-day. We rarely hear of him. He speaks once. In fact, this time around, he just spoke once. It was a phone call.
A phone call, but his phone call brings...
So, in other words, he should keep quiet, completely go numb and quiet, fully.
He should be a nationalist.
To do what?
And to do things like whatever, when we are in turmoil, for example. There are times when we need now. You remember when we had a problem here between, in 2007, whom did we call? We called Jakaya Kikwete. We called President Mkapa from Tanzania. We called Kofi Annan from Ghana. They also tried to call Kufo. You remember?
Yes.
Retired presidents. I mean, that is what they do. Naturally. Even Tony Blair has a very big consultancy firm, and he consults for the UN, for example. So retired presidents like Uhuru Kenyatta has been an envoy in the DRC, the problem in the DRC. And that is a good job for him and keeps him busy. I see President Mbeki from South Africa. He's doing some consultancy work and talking about giving speeches and all this on how democracy should be done in Africa. And that talks about Africa Renaissance. It talks about Africa now. But it doesn't really engage himself in the day-to-day running of ANC in South Africa. So I still think that he should be a statesman now. But he should be the guy who, on top of everything, to give some guidelines on how the country should go. But if he takes sides and supports one side of the divide, it might bring a lot of chaos and might be problematic to other players.
There is a caricature here. There's a cartoon here. I want my cameraman to zoom in a bit. Let's talk about this camera. It's related to what we are talking about. Here we have, you'll see it on the screens there. We have, and I want you to give me your interpretation of this cartoon in relation to what we are doing. There you have it. We have got, that is former presidents, the late President Moi and President Mwai Kibaki. And that is Uhuru Kenyatta, right? That is Uhuru Kenyatta. And behind him is Rigathi Gachagua, if I get it right. There are two microphones, one in a yellow tape, seemingly muzzled, and it seems that Uhuru Kenyatta has carried one microphone. How do you interpret that cartoon, Oscar, when it's still on the screen?
Yeah, you see, this cartoon says that in the shadows of Uhuru Kenyatta, there is, that is Gachagua behind him.
Right.
Right? And Gachagua is pushing for Uhuru Kenyatta to be like a mouthpiece of Gachagua. And now it's like, again, partly zoning the part of the country where these two come from.
Right.
But the other leaders who are also in the shadows, that is Moi and Kibaki, they are long dead, but their microphones were muzzled. They are faded microphones, as opposed to these other microphones that are bright and color.
Very good.
I think if I understand this one. But his microphone is still bright in color.
Okay. So let's come back, because that is also part of our discussion. You said it is legally correct for the former president. It is his...
I mean, everybody has, we all enjoy freedom of speech.
Very true. Yeah. But politically not. So which one takes precedence? The legal aspect or the political aspect?
The quagmire or the dilemma that Uhuru Kenyatta might get into. He might be treated as a political player, like any other political player. And which does not bring honor to his office. Because he still holds an office. He holds an office, a legal office, an office of a retired president. It's a legal office in our constitution. So he still holds an office, he still has staff paid by the taxpayer, and spokespeople done by everything, and you see people who work like drivers and everybody who works around Uhuru Kenyatta are civil servants because they're paid by the taxpayer.
Yes.
So he still have a legal office. But that legal office has requirements on what should be done as holders of this office. But it's clearly that this office should not be somebody who do not engage. It is I think it is clear in our constitution. Not engage in political machinations of the country. So he is going against the guidelines of that legal office that he holds.
Okay. You realize that Uhuru Kenyatta is an official of the Jubilee Party, okay? Yeah. And so you would still expect him...
He's a party leader.
Exactly. You'd still expect him to have some words of direction with regards to the party, to stabilize the party, even as we head to the next general election. And we've seen how the party is making inroads and participation in several activities here and there. Last weekend it was Ole Kenta's homecoming. But then now, why is it that it's a big issue when he speaks?
Because he's conflicted. We didn't expect a situation where we have a retired president being a party leader.
So he should support the incumbent?
Not support the incumbent.
What should he do?
He should be a statesman. A statesman is somebody who rises above everybody else. He should be like like in a company, they're board of directors.
In other words, he should not take sides.
He shouldn't. I don't think so. He had his time. He has his 10 years.
But don't you think that is a political move? Because he still has influence, politically speaking?
Does he want to run? Yeah, he can run again. I think it's not illegal to run for like MP or governor or MCA.
If he wants to.
If he wants to. I think that one is... But when he does that, then he forgets about his packs. He leaves that office. he must leave the office of the retired president and seek re-election and participate in contemporary politics. He can run. He cannot run for president only, but he can run for governor. I think so. He can run for MP. He can run for MCA if he wants. But I think for him to run for those positions, he must have to leave that legal office of the retired president and stop enjoying those perks because he's decided to participate in day-to-day running of politics. Yes.
There are no... That seems that it's a partisan political criticism.
Yes, if he participates in politics, like whatever move he made a comment, he must be, people will respond.
As a party leader of Jubilee.
As a party leader of Jubilee. People who are opposed or who have a contrary opinion. Because democracy, what is democracy? Democracy is the competition of ideas. He has his ideas as a former president. But when you expound those ideas, then you get yourself into the murky political field. And in the murky political field, do you expect people to keep quiet? Do you expect people that Uhuru will talk and people will keep quiet and not respond to him? And they responded to him. And now they bring him back to politics. And you know how dirty politics in this country is. Yes. So that is why if you're working or if you're running an office and running as a statesman, you know, the likes of Garissa-Kitui, they are still alive.
Yes.
You get me right? But where do they go? Garissa-Kitui, Jakaya Kikwete, and Benjamin Mkapa were brought in this country to bring sanity when we had a problem because they are members of African eminent persons.
Exactly, the same way President
Uhuru Kenyatta should join that league of African eminent persons.
The DRC.
Yes.
He was also given that role.
Yes.
But back home, he's not supposed to speak politically.
Yes.
When he spoke last week, everything went south.
Yeah. He's the envoy, and you know the envoy to DRC is sent by the president to DRC. By the state. He's not there on his own volition. He's there to represent the state of Kenya in the East African community in resolving the problem in the DRC as the Kenyan envoy. He's a Kenyan envoy. He doesn't go there as a Uhuru Kenyatta. He goes there as a Kenyan envoy. He represents the position that Benjamin Mkapa, Kofi Annan, and Garissa-Kitui represented when they came here as African eminent persons. He should be African eminent person. Yes. But now, if you want to involve in the Murima politics and talks about whatever happens here sometimes.
He's said that
his position might be right, but now, what he says, his opinion could be right or wrong, but his position doesn't allow him.
He belongs to a political party.
Yes.
All right? Yes. So we'd assume that
I don't even think if the Constitution envisaged such a thing, that a retired president will still hold position in a political party. Because if it is clearly that he should not participate in politics, then he should not even hold the position of party leader of a political party.
Okay. Yeah. What about the aspect of defending party interest?
I've told you,
yes,
there's conflict of interest. Because if the Constitution says that a retired president should not engage in day-to-day running of politics, then that means that he should not be a party leader, because if you're a party leader, then you have to participate in running daily politics, because you're the party leader. Yes. Like Oburu is the party leader of ODM. He must participate in that. Ruto is the party leader of UDA. He must participate in policies making and everything to do with UDA. He must lead UDA. So Uhuru Kenyatta leading a political party called Jubilee, you cannot deny him the right to lead that party. But I don't think if the Constitution envisages a situation where a retired president becomes a party leader of an existing and active political party in Kenya. So, the law should be... It's like hate speech, for example. We don't know at what level do we... That's why that law has not taken effect so well, because we don't even know what is hate speech and what is not hate speech, because it's not well defined. At what level do you define this one as hate speech? At what level don't you define that one as hate speech? Yeah.
When you look at the political leadership and continuity, some supporters believe that his experience in politics is what is needed mostly for the continuity of the party to be stable. He's needed so much to stabilize the party, the political discourse of the political party that he belongs to, and protect his legacy.
A president gets only 10 years in office. 5 years and another 5 years.
Right?
Yes, a second term, 10 years. If you've had your 10 years and you could not do anything within those 10 years, then after 10 years, why would you be a participant in political movements? Yeah, I don't think if it is anybody who thinks like that. I think somebody who has gotten his chance to be in any office and retired should just give space. And there are many. Mudi Awori is still alive. Yeah, he's not dead.
Yes.
Yeah, he was vice president. And the law does not even bar Mudi Awori from doing anything. But, I mean, you retired. You retired. If you retire from KBC tomorrow, Victor, you retired.
That's a different...
I won't expect to come and see you here. If you retired...
We've seen former politicians, still coming back to the podium.
Give me an example.
Of course, we've seen former Westlands MP.
Being a chairman of a funeral or when
they're still championing the discourse of political parties.
They're championing. Fred Gumo has been there.
The likes of Ruben Dolo still in the Linda Mwananchi.
No, don't compare the two. He's not retired. Ruben Dolo is retired. And even Fred Gumo, he can participate in politics because the law does not bar him. But even if you see him, he's in some Luya Elders forum, not Westlands.
We will say this, that people who are saying that former President Uhuru Kenyatta should not participate in the political discourse, the one you say, day-to-day running of political discourse in this country, are afraid that he has got influence. There is a voting bloc which is still behind him, and the party that he's still leading, that is Jubilee Party. And the moment he'll say something, then other people will see that that is a false start to
Uhuru Kenyatta's influence. An influence that could not even make his candidate win the elections in 2022. He has an influence. Influence over who? Influence over who? Why would somebody be scared of Uhuru Kenyatta, who could not make his candidate win elections in 2022 with the power of the incumbency?
You are the one who is afraid of him, and that is why you don't want him to speak.
Uhuru Kenyatta had his chance for 10 years. Brought this country to his knees. The debts we are struggling with, debts from his regime, 20 years of working here. Took loans that never got to our country. You don't know that? There were loans from Eurobond, and Raila died was saying that there were very many loans that was taken, but they never got even here. And we are paying for those loans. We are paying with the interests. So it's a big mess. So bringing back Uhuru Kenyatta to Kenyan politics is making a bigger mess. It's making a bigger mess. Oh, how are you guys? You are here.
I don't know whether your camera is ready. I'm just trying to imagine what Oscar is trying to say. We've talked about his constitutional right. He's talked about his constitutional right to speak as a party leader, as a Kenyan. He just had a phone call on Friday, and here we are talking about Eurobond and how he messed the economy and all that. Dr. good morning.
Morning.
Why
Victor.
are you itching? Good to see you.
I don't understand how my good friend and my student
Can I shake your hand?
could be also be falling into the trap of lies. Yeah, the trap of lies where people in Kenya are not telling the truth. Our problem is not Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta, what was the debt, Kenya's debt, when Uhuru Kenyatta left office? How much is it now? What are we really talking about? What is our budget today? What can we see for it? Yeah, what can we see tangible on the ground for the budget of 4.6 trillion? Why is education on its knees? Uhuru Kenyatta didn't leave education on its knees. We came with the new issues saying, oh, we are reforming, we are doing this, we have a new program, of funding students in the universities. Instead, even with the upsurge of the number of students in the country, especially that need university education, the budget has gone down. The financing has gone down. Yeah, the system that was there, to fund students, to give students scholarships, was changed. But what did we get? Students are out, over 100,000 students are outside. When Uhuru Kenyatta comes up and says something, and I believe strongly, even myself, I have a democratic right. Nobody takes the right for me to speak, the right to participate in the life, in my own life. I cannot just be boxed and told, you are like in detention. We are going to take away your money. And this intimidation has to come to a stop. Because this intimidation that they take away his parks, while he is in retirement, so that to silence him, I think it's wrong.
I ask a question because he's still the Jubilee Party leader. When he speaks, he speaks because of there is that party influence and leadership that he still wants to maintain and continue championing. Oscar says he has got a legal right to speak constitutionally, but politically no. So which one takes precedence? DG, good morning.
Where does he read from? Where does he read from?
Good morning.
When you retire, are you supposed to go home and don't speak politically?
In fact, I asked Ambassador Professor Mbozire to withdraw the greeting from the student. Because I don't think this student was in class. I think there are some of those students who are in class but somewhere near the window. I want to ask one question. Uhuru Kenyatta addressed Kenyans via just a simple phone. But now Oscar wants us to believe he should be quiet somewhere. And you can see how it has aroused the political temperature, particularly in UDA and their allies. What Victor, I want to ask you kindly, when you are inviting these State House and OP sympathizers, let them get prepared so well. Uhuru Kenyatta is a leader, is a former president. Uhuru Kenyatta is a political party leader. Uhuru Kenyatta has following. That's why you are seeing people are shaking when he speaks. We have seen whenever he appears anywhere, anywhere, whether in Western Kenya, Northern Kenya, anywhere, whenever he appears in public, how Kenyans are excited. We know, since I don't know much about the founding father of the nation, but if you ask me, there was a scandal called Goldenberg.
Yes.
If you ask me, during the third president of Kenya, whom I believe did extremely very well to develop this country, we had Aglolisi. And Uhuru Kenyatta and Uhuru Ruto, Dimin, there was this, and I'm bringing Uhuru Ruto because they were always at the center. And by the way, as a member of parliament, there was no time we ever met without the two. It is like they were conjoined under the 2010 constitution. Under Uhuru Ruto, we remember there was this major Eurobond thing he is talking about. And look at under Ruto, the scandals, the first less than 4 years. The scandals, you cannot. They have surpassed the other three presidents.
Give an example on what you're saying.
Let's take a break.
I will. Let's start there. When you come back.
Let's take a break. Oh my, it's just about to get down. All right, Brad, stay with us.
In a world where news is ever-changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Hebu fikirie environment kama hii hapa Western Kenya. Eti mtu atatoka hapa aende Nairobi kusoma university to conquer the world. Mimi Andrew nitahakikisha hiyo ndoto imezimwa. Tazama hayo yote kwa Gundu KBC Tuesday to Thursday 7:30 p.m. Leo sio kesho.
Gundu wakita wengine wata
If you want us to go that way, if you want us to go that way, I will tell you one thing.
Welcome back. Endelea. We are on.
If you want us to go that route, which way? I will tell you that route of numbers. I will tell you, you people from the left side, you are 700,000 minus South Nyanza. You are 700,000. And if you did not, when we were together with you, it is factual. You can go because I can see what you are being said from those guys of yours from State House. You can go to that and Google. IBC results. When we were together with you people, we were the one who was stating you, our fault. Because you are not even voting for that Baba you are talking about.
Who are you? The turnout is 60. 60%. 60 to 70% in Nyanza.
My friend.
Yeah.
It's no Nyanza that controls politics in this country.
How?
With all the numbers. That's why even ODM now, when there's a problem in ODM, when the big brother coughs, everybody shrinks.
That is
why when there's Linda Mwananchi and Linda Ground and the two ODM functions, it affects Wiper, it affects which party do you belong to. All these other people, all these other opposition parties get affected because ODM has coughed. That is the main party of the country. And you see, whether they play opposition politics, wherever they play, wherever they are,
Victor,
even Kalonzo, whom you support probably.
Are we talking about ODM here, which has its own in-house problems? I was a member of that party.
I wanted to correct something.
Now, why should we be saying ODM is a strong party?
I wanted to correct something.
Yes.
Under the Kenyan law, a retired president should not hold office in a political party for more than 6 months after leaving office. You get me right? They are expected to transition into a consultative advisory role. Despite this, former President Uhuru Kenyatta has remained actively involved in political party, which is wrong. After 6 months, they should not continue holding a role, any position in a political party. And it's saying, despite Uhuru Kenyatta has continued leading Jubilee Party, Mwalimu, it is wrong.
What is not
Deputy
wrong?
Governor, it is wrong. The Constitution says that a former president should not continue holding any position in a political party 6 months after being retired.
But that does stop him from commenting?
Yeah.
Or talking politically?
He should play an advisory role. Before they came.
Based on what you've read. Based on what you've read.
Where
does it say that
where are you reading?
Which article?
Which article?
Of the Constitution.
Because you might be reading something that has been sent to you.
No. The President Retirement Benefit Act technically bars retired president from taking up active political leadership role. A provision that has been challenged in court as discriminatory. It's been challenged in court as
where are you quoting?
If it has been
despite
discriminatory,
former President Uhuru Kenyatta has
maintained
his position.
What is the court decision? Tell us.
The court decision has not been.
Then why are we still?
What I'm saying, what I was discussing about legal and political issues.
Of course.
What I'm saying, if the president will play an advisory role, it will be better for him. But if he gets himself into the murky politics of Kenya, that position will be eroded because he will be dealt with as any other political player, like any other MCA or any other deputy governor or
Victor,
I have this discussion because
Victor, which section of the law is he quoting? That is my question.
No, we can check the law.
Okay,
as
we are still looking for that, I'm liking this discussion because
some lawyer to him.
We are trying to compare the retired presidents, the late Mwai Kibaki and President Moi. We'll all know that those two gentlemen exited office at their ripe and prime age, all right?
Yes.
And so the political discourse and landscape way back then was so different from what we are experiencing today. There is a Mount Kenya effect, there is Jubilee effect.
They were not there before?
Okay, and there is Rigathi Gachagua effect. And now, Raila Odinga is not there. When you have all these four aspects put together, that would actually scare someone to tell that Uhuru Kenyatta should not speak. Mwalimu.
You know, Victor, one very important point here, and he has said, it has been challenged in court. If a matter has been challenged, why are we even discussing it here? So the president has his time, President Uhuru has his time to guide the country. But the Constitution, I believe, does not tell him how to guide the country. A phone call telling Kenyans where we are and where we should be going and who can save this country or how the country should change should not be seen as really a travesty. It is still within his mandate, and we have already said it clearly. It's also his democratic right. But when people jump out the following day insulting President Uhuru, it doesn't deserve those insults by these little boys. And you see, some of these guys were actually dressed very well. They were dressed very well by Reverend Usito Juang, who told them that their role is oversighting executive and not promoting executive interests. They are supposed to promote national interests. Then again, you look at it. I look at them on the TV yesterday. A majority of them, and 95% of them, are from the same one region. It's not fair that we try to bring an ethnic angle into what the president said during the meeting in Narok. And he has a right. And we can see what problems we have in this country and how they're not being solved. We have seen now people, even the President Ruto himself, is contradicting statistics from Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, that we should believe him rather than official statistical visual numbers delivered by a government agency. So we have lies. You know, they want us to believe in lies rather than believe in facts.
Okay.
Don't miss.
You are actively in political leadership. Why would you want the former leader in your county not to speak on matters relating to Machakos County?
He speaks.
Are you worried?
He speaks all through.
Are you worried about that?
Even sometimes in my presence, in governor's presence, Dr. Mutua speaks. He has even a political party which he champions. By the way, even in the assembly, his troops are our biggest opposers.
And
he comes personally, not even sending, nor even through phone calls. He comes himself several times. We have even shared a podium where he sometimes even lectures some of us, and it is okay.
He provides advisory.
So in this case, I don't know why.
I use that example so that we move it from your position to the national level.
Yes.
All right? The former governor and now former president. Yes. You've said that at some point you share a podium, you know, there is that political discourse that you champion all separately.
Yes.
And I've asked you, does that really worry you as the current leadership of Machakos?
No. I will tell you one thing. Unless the constitution is changed,
yes,
we know the former governor will never come back.
He will.
Because
very good.
Because
what is the
he will never come back as a governor.
Hold on. The difference is this.
I use that example also.
It is wrong example. What happens is former governors have come back to politics as senators. Senator Mandago was former governor. from Uasin Gishu. He's now the senator for...
I'm talking as a governor. As a governor.
He participates in politics because he can still run. The former president is barred by our laws to participate and hold political office.
Okay.
But by our laws, not former governors. But former governors have come back as senators.
I've asked him.
He said he cannot come back as
a governor. As a governor.
Don't convolute the issue.
I'm saying governor is different because we have evidence, and he's a researcher, we have evidence that former governors participate in day-to-day running of politics, and they've come to hold political office, and they've been elected again in office. Currently, former governor Nairobi is running for, I don't know, Homa Bay or something like this. But former governor is different from the president.
He didn't retire.
The president is a symbol of national unity for the 10 years that he's been given to run in office. And you can only compare Uhuru Kenyatta to Jakaya Kikwete. You can only compare Uhuru Kenyatta to Thabo Mbeki. You can only compare Uhuru Kenyatta to former President Kabila of DRC. You cannot compare Uhuru Kenyatta to Governor Mutua.
This is all about to stop him from asserting his influence.
I'm saying even if Uhuru Kenyatta today in his office, he works as the envoy, the Kenyan envoy to the DRC. That is the work of the former president.
Okay.
We've not said Mutua can work as
Doctor, you said that it was just a phone call, of which that was the thing.
Yes.
And now we are talking about his influence today. We are headed towards election. There is that aspect of active political rebuttal. If his name is called, he has a right to respond.
Precisely. Now they are talking. Yeah. You know, it's like they are waiting for him to say something.
And the people who rebut against Uhuru Kenyatta have right to rebut.
Protect my space, Victor, please.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are seeing the President Uhuru coming into the podium, through a phone call. Now they have attacked him. They're saying they're going to withdraw even his benefits. You know, let me say this, Victor. For me, that is really the worst thing anybody can do. That everyone in this country is being threatened. Is being threatened and being scared. They are selling fear to everyone that if you said anything against the system, you are going to be punished. And they say it publicly. You're going to be punished. We have seen it happen before. He was attacked. The president was attacked. His property was attacked immediately this government came to power. They harassed, not by Gachagua, this guy who is in charge in this country. President Ruto is the head of state and is in charge of the armed forces. He's the one who is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces.
Who attacked Uhuru?
Can I be allowed to speak?
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. He was attacked by the state.
The criminal.
And the head of state.
But the criminal.
In fact,
that is misguiding.
Let me go again.
You can't come to national TV.
Victor, let me go again.
Claim that Uhuru Kenyatta was attacked by the state. There was no state. He was attacked by criminals.
Let me tell you. We have seen goons, and this is the same problem. We are seeing this problem is getting worse and worse every day because government, again, is sponsoring goons to attack citizens. And we know for sure. Even the church in
some of these things.
No, I know what I'm saying. Why are you interfering with what I'm saying?
Okay.
Can you wait for your turn? Yeah, my student. I thought I taught you some manners. Some manners. You can't even respect your teacher. Now we have gone even a notch higher.
Yes.
That government sponsors goons to attack opponents. That political intolerance, Kenyans are not going to allow. Government can only rule at the will of its people, not by coercion, by intimidation, and they make it publicly that even the former president, when he makes a statement that rubs someone in the wrong way, is threatened with withdrawal of benefits that are not paid by the state, by people, these human beings who are governing on our behalf, but taxpayers. Taxpayers are the ones that pay President Uhuru money.
Yes.
They should come to us and ask us whether they should continue paying him, but not a few people going out there in rallies who insult all the time to tell the president, to call the president to order.
Okay. Everything is about strategic politics and 2027 planning. That is basically what is here. Because Jubilee Party is still strategizing as them putting the house in order. I asked the DG this question, how the relationship between the current leadership of Machakos County and the former to bring that point closer home. And he said that they still meet at a podium, they lecture each other, and that ends there. You're not afraid of that, sir, right?
No.
So when it comes to political discourse, I am so sure even the former office is also actively involved in other political moves in the county and all that, because he has got MCAs and all that. But when it comes to the national politics, 2027, do we want to say that Jubilee should not have the voice of the former president as a guiding father, as a guiding figure to support the team towards 2027? DG.
First and foremost, I want to ask a question. Why is this group so astonished? Why do they fear the former president? Yet we know the former president, unless we change the constitution, will never come back as a president of the Republic of Kenya. Secondly, you know, I sat here, Victor,
yes,
the same seat, and I told you, road nearing the next election, you will see casualties. Even Oscar here will run away. I can tell you.
Okay.
Come next year, in fact, even before I entered here, I was trying to negotiate with a very senior figure, not to leave at this, not to make an announcement, to wait a little bit. Nobody wants to defend this thing, this student. But I believe he was not a serious student. You see, you will see many from across the country running away from this thing. Why? Because of the kind of things they are doing. Anything they try to touch like this cup, it turns away the other way, and it does never. By the way, Oscar, the problem, and I will tell you, I wish we had a screen here. I wish that screen over there was showing us the reactions. You run away.
From Kenyans?
No, reactions of what you are saying and what this show is all about. Yeah. I'm sure Kenyans are very much mad at you.
Why?
Because you are speaking and quoting outdated things that you cannot defend anywhere, yet you are associated with academics. Like what you are quoting about the president. I expected you, a little bit, just be patient. Be patient. Okay. Don't interfere and don't become a neckline in a national TV. Okay. So the thing I'm saying is, you need to quote something authentic. I'm sure that is what Professor Bazanda taught you in class. Okay. You don't just bring a section of an argument in court and you want to bring it in a national TV about the former president. He has a right. First, as a Kenyan. Two, he is the only surviving former president. He has the right, every right, whenever things are not going right, to stand up and say as it is, without appearing as though he is against one side or another. That is the only single person we have in this country today. In case of anything in this country, he will stand and he will be listened. Not like your leader, who nobody listens to.
If Uhuru stands tomorrow in this country, the way Deputy Governor is talking about, to be listened to, it can only happen if he desists from taking sides and putting himself in the position he wants to put himself. But if he stands as an African eminent person, get me right, he will earn the respect. He never threw our country into war. He never did anything bad during his time, serious things. And he left office honorably, democratically, handed over power to the next person in line. But if he wants to participate in politics and gets attacked, because if he speaks, there will be rebuttal. And that rebuttal might not be something good for him.
But gentlemen, we all understand that this is Kenya politics, and all these rebuttals are just, they're just...
I'm only giving an advisory thing to Uhuru Kenyatta, but his henchmen and people who admire him might tell him differently, because if it is people who are scared, probably it is the United Opposition who are scared. That's why they want to bring Uhuru Kenyatta as a player. Uhuru Kenyatta cannot be a player in this one. Let everybody do their thing. Let the United Opposition come up with alternative things they want to do to the wrongs that have been done in this country. If you want to replace somebody who is working, you must bring a better person. They've not shown us any better person.
Okay.
Wanasema hawana agenda. The thing is, I'm only analyzing what is happening in the political terrain. And that's what I'm telling you. By now, it is 1 year to election. It is difficult to even say who is going to run against the incumbent president because we still don't know. What are we analyzing? So we are going down to analyze the former president because the united opposition or the alternative opposition don't have anything to present on the table. So let's go and discuss the former president because...
Very good. Victor, let me say this. Because I can see maybe would picked a student other than picking the ambassador and the teacher to advise them.
The student has become
the
better
thing
than
is,
the teacher.
you know, we started so well.
You never.
Victor, you see, this country...
These things I was taught by...
It is good. It is good. Victor, it is very good. It is very good that we started so well and the government started by operating a program called abductions and forced disappearances. Then we went to goons. Whenever this group is around anywhere, any city, goons started with UDA, following their leader everywhere, looting, running away with the bicycles, terrorizing Kenyans. And now they are upgrading the same.
And by the way,
so
I'm not in support of any
why can't you listen? That is what you are told by your teacher here. I'm sure. So what I'm saying is, because you are not used to be challenged, because you fear the unknown, because of the sins, some of them economic sins you have committed, you are scared whenever anybody speaks. If you want us to discuss the issues touching on alternative government, please invite us. That is something that will take a whole show, and I will be in a position to prove something very good to you and to Kenyans.
Gentlemen, I want us to discuss something here pretty fast. We saw what happened to over the weekend. And I want us to discuss how we saw how Governor James Orengo was ejected from a funeral in Kisumu. What does that remind you, Ambassador?
It reminds me of the dark ages. I was a university student when President Moi was the president then. And our space, political space, democratic space was constricted because we were operating under the old constitution. And I saw how that political intolerance grew to a level that I remember Liki being nyaunyod, if I may use that, in Nakuru. That political intolerance, it is against any human dignity. It's against any human being to be done that way. And I would like to say this, that we started slow, as Governor said, the DG has said, that we started slowly, state-sponsored hooliganism. This actually is taking a life of its own. It has reached a point where you are seated and someone will come with wounds and eject you from a meeting, a funeral meeting, a somber ceremony that is celebrating an old man who had achieved a lot for the community. It is a shame. For me, it's a shame. And when nobody condemned that, even in subsequent discussions in the same place, except for that reverend, these people, I think, do not care about the future of this nation. And I would say, without fear of contradiction, that they are elevating Orengo to another level. And I thought that Orengo was in his own environment, in his own elements. I saw in the 1990s, Orengo was being, you remember, you could see the pictures. We went to the archives where he's hiding together with Raila and he's being attacked by government. Shikuku and all. We are going back to that, honestly. Those of us who lived during that period, we do not want our country to slide back into repression, into autocracy, into those fear and intimidation, and the state's face is still there because the state should have intervened. Why should the state let things unfold the way they did? What if those goons killed Orengo
I
or
want to
harmed him badly?
I want to take a quick break. But Oscar, this one majorly happens in the ODM. It doesn't matter which faction, but let's just call that house ODM. And we are seeing a lot of these things happening now after the demise of Baba. Are you trying to see what I'm saying?
Yes. After the demise of Baba, first of all, I also want to condemn the use of goons anywhere they are. I mean, Stalin said that if you want to destroy any country, arm civilians. If civilians can take their own, can take it upon themselves to use force and violence against anybody, then we can be headed the Haiti way. So anything to do with goon and what have you and use of them, wait who is using them, be it government or non-government, non-state actor. It is clearly wrong. I cannot support that one. Number two, issue of goonism is not being used by only state operators. All these politicians, the oppositions, I mean, the people who you've seen protecting, like, for example, people have been protected because, for example, I think even Honorable Gachagua had been attacked in some church somewhere. Then he also had to beef up his security. And whom did he use to beef up his security? Another team of goons. So it is wrong from whichever angle you look at it.
Okay, let's take a quick break. Okay. Just 1 minute break, and we come back. We'll be finalizing this discussion shortly. Stay with us.
Kitchen's big. Cooking, it's got everything. South-facing, big floor-to-ceiling windows. Take a look.
It kind of seems like you're living here too.
Does it?
What's wrong with your leg? I was in a hurry. I tripped over.
It's New Year's. Why were you in a hurry?
Take it easy. It's not worth getting hurt.
Can't you stop looking at your phone? Everyone's eating. Why are you so busy?
Your girlfriend's gone. Forget about your stocks.
It's fine.
We have a new crop of leaders now.
Okay. Welcome back.
Oburu is the new crop.
Oscar, you were finishing your statement.
I was saying that the other goons are not the proper means. We should elevate the proper, because what is a government? A government is the state institution that has the monopoly to use legal violence. Nobody else is accepted to use legal violence except the government. And now, putting the police and the security apparatus, I think we need to, probably Bosiri and the rest, we need to really recheck our constitution. Because even where deputy governor is, you know, the provincial administration that we had before had the security apparatus. And when we brought in this devolution thing, I think part of our security was elevated, moved backwards, because power was in the county government and power was in the devolved unit and power was in the governors who don't control the security. Or probably we should change the constitution so that probably the devolved units have some input in the security of this of their counties, because the runaway goonism and whatever is happening is.
But they do. Don't you?
They do, but as strong as the original, the traditional provincial administration. Dr. Richard Busiri, you know very well how the provincial administration provided security and how the government was in touch, and this goonism culture that we are getting. There's a problem, there's a disconnect, because the provincial administration has set a back. And Richard has the authority to even speak to this, because he teaches public administration and public order. And now there's disorder, there's chaos everywhere. If you see what happens in Nairobi, for example, when any politician, not even the president, when any politician goes down to do politics and do rallies in Nairobi, people get mugged along the way. But again, we have also the youth bulge and also youth unemployment.
Okay.
These are national problems we need to deal with, so that we deal with that thing. But unless we deal with it. I think one time Honorable Gachagua said that if you don't deal with some of these things, the next election will be like, 2007 will be like a Christmas party. We are really sitting in a time bomb. I come from area where this problem is really affecting people, and whatever you saw in Kisumu the other day, we are discussing it at our level. It is very, very bad down there because of youth unemployment, because of the back position that the provincial administration has taken. A DEO today means nothing to some of these people. A chief means something. There's no chief act. The police themselves that they control don't have authority over the political, because power shifted from the provincial administration to the devolved unit that we elected. Okay. But that provincial administration, probably, we should be able to put the OCPD or OCS under the governorship.
Thank you. How does this really change the perception of voters? When we see such kind of, we know Governor Orengo belongs to the other side of Linda Mwananchi. And when you see him being ejected from a funeral and all that, at their chance, how does that change the perception of his constituency, the voters and people who support him? They just say nationwide.
By the way, it is a very dangerous thing. And before I go there, let me go back to the same incident.
Yeah.
The son to the late Mzee who was being buried, that is Dr. Nyikar,
yes.
Whom we were together and we served in the same committee in Parliament during my tenure in Parliament. I think there is something he said which was very interesting, and he said it in public. He said, Kisumu Senator, someone, the chief Ngun, the chief organizer, came and talked while they were seated together. And he asked him, if this was your father's funeral, will I be doing this? And he went ahead and told him, please can you intervene and tell your boys you have come with to stop this madness. And when when the professor intervened, it almost stopped because it were orders. What am I trying to say? This was an organized Gunism. I am on this forum and I will say this. ODM, and I know it has very good brains. Thank God Oscar is not part of their advisors. Let him continue on devising Arambe House and the State House. If we continue with this kind of Gunism, let's not go even outside this continent. In Great Lakes region, within our region here, some of the countries I don't want to name surrounding this country, we know where this root of Gunism and organized violence, state-supported and sponsored Gunism, where has taken those countries. It is a very dangerous, dangerous thing. The Gunism, they are being supported by this administration to suppress their opponents. It is a matter of time. If they don't stop it, I will tell you, today, victim could be you, Victor. Tomorrow is me. The day after, we don't know whether it will be Oscar or Professor Basanda here who will be affected. And why we are seeing, coming now to answer your question, the people who elected James Orengo as a governor, how is it going to affect them? How are they going to perceive him? One thing I will tell you, because they saw what happened, those who support and those who look up to Governor Orengo will henceforth look at ways of ensuring he is safe. And that is where the problem Oscar described now comes in. Because if the state is unable to protect me, those who put me into that office will have a responsibility.
Which should not happen.
If today Kalonzo was the one who was called in Homa Bay because he was there, I think he was somewhere, either Mingori or Homa Bay.
County.
I will tell you, we as people who look up to him will move and ensure he is secure, and he will move anywhere he wants securely. Now, this brings me back to the question that brought a lot of it here. These people who are in power today, if they want to withdraw anything they think they are doing to, any favor they think they are doing to former President Uhuru Kenyatta, then let them withdraw. We can even changa, even 50 cents, 1 shilling, and President Uhuru Kenyatta will be okay. They will not intimidate some of us to keep quiet. That will not happen. They abducted us. They forced many of us to disappear. They even, some were shot, like the late Jane C's protest. We saw what happened. And people have not kept quiet. It is people sitting down and agreeing to adhere to the dictates of our constitution. That is what is going to keep this country together. So that tomorrow, I'm not thinking about my security, but I'm thinking about which proposal my opponent, Oscar, here is bringing to the table to lead this country. And I challenge that proposal with another policy alternative, as opposed to the question of we are meeting somewhere, I hire a crowd to cheer me and others to echo this one. That is hooliganism.
Doctor, in 1 minute, if you can do this, because we are running out of time, how, just your point on that.
Now, I already mentioned a few things, but the level of intolerance that is increasing in our country will breed rejection of the perpetrators of violence. And the level of tolerance which is increasing will actually breed rejection of the perpetrators of the violence. In other words, I've seen a pattern, and I wish that politicians would see this. When you use guns to attack your opponents everywhere. In fact, you will elevate your opponents. You will keep on improving their profile politically. And I think those who advise the president should tell him that these things are the ones, part of the reasons why Kenyans feel that they should get a change 2027. Secondly, when you push citizens into a mode of self-help, what I mean, self-help is like there's no law and order, and therefore I must take arms and defend myself. We have seen it in Kitui the other day.
Yeah,
we saw it. Seikulu, where people have carried arms. They are with bows and arrows, with spears, with machetes and all that. And in the open and in the news, they are there. And the police are not protecting their citizens. It is very dangerous. Self-help is very dangerous because people will not have faith in state apparatus. And that is what is creeping into people's minds, that we have to protect ourselves. Even people, leaders, distinguished leaders, whose security, they have threatened to withdraw security in the past, or they have withdrawn security in the past. They have gone into private security arrangements. All these things, Victor, I'm saying, are making our country insecure, and government or the state must address it, not politically, must address it unless they have no capacity to address the security situation in the country. Finally, Victor, if you give me a second. The problem of hooliganism in our country is because of the desperation our youth have been subjected to. They have done it through unemployment. Education is inaccessible, university education, or unaffordable. And we're struggling talking about concrete floors, roads, and all this, when the software is underfunded, and it is now feeding into the political arena. Political exploitation of our youth, the youth of this country, must stop when the government will sufficiently invest in education and in manufacturing, in those sectors that will help create jobs. Not when they're creating conditions that actually are making jobs fly away, insecurity being the one. In other words, we are saying education should be treated as a security issue to this country. It has now been securitized. You can talk about the security impact of the way we are governing the country, especially on employment and education of our youth.
Oscar, let me ask you this question. Based on what I've just asked, how that really changed the perception of the voter? And even, how does that embolden Governor Orengo himself, his supporters, and the perception generally in the face of Wanjiku?
I've just told you that the use of hooliganism is both sides. My colleagues here want me to believe that only one side is using goons against the other. I've told you this.
No, government must be in control.
Can I finish?
Yeah, government must be in control.
Yes, I've told you that if we want to deal with the root cause of goonism, then all political leaders must be brought to order.
Okay. By who?
By government. Number two, issue to do with Orengo's supporters. I don't want to talk to this one, but the thing is that anytime we want to win the hearts and minds of the people, I think on this one, probably on this particular day, he might have not been prepared for this. He knew he was just going for a funeral, and he just went. And I think even him, if he goes next time, he might go prepared.
All right.
So I'm telling you that it is unsafe for everybody, like Governor is saying, it's unsafe for everybody.
Generally, that should not happen.
That should not happen. But no, I didn't come here to bash government.
Okay.
I came here to look for solutions with you guys, but I didn't make.
Okay, let's just wrap it up. But before we go, IBC did the voter registration 30 days, and it ended on 18th of last month with a total registered voters of 2,345,476,000. There are top 5 counties. Nairobi County emerged top, led by Nairobi, Kiambu, Nakuru, Kakamega came fourth. And do you know the 5th county topping the nationwide registration?
Machakos.
Give it to the DG.
Yes.
Machakos. Machakos led at number 5 with 84,000.
You are nowhere in top 10. This broad blood based thing. You are nowhere.
Good job.
I tell you.
Yeah, that was 1 month. 84,198. We have to give it to him. Situmpige makofi jamani. Yeah. Okay. Situmalize hapo. Tukimaliza. Thank you so much for joining us, DG. Continue doing that because voter registration exercise is an exercise that still continues.
But Victor, you know, just the first one, very quickly. Politics is about numbers.
Sure.
Number 2, this group on anti-bias of Oscar threw out almost 3/4 of what brought them to power and picked 0.00%, and now that is their problem. Even what they picked is split.
Lastly, Victor, just to answer the DG. Just answer the DG.
That was the last one.
So that's why they are now annoyed.
Okay. Let's go over to Kisumu.
We had tyranny of numbers. This time we had tyranny of tricks and strategies.
Thank you so much. Oscar Mondi, governor's expert, political analyst at University of Don, Asante Stealing, and his teacher here, Dr. Ambassador Richard Musina. Thank you so much.
On live on camera.
Stealing votes will not help.
Let's go to Kisumu.
Strategy.
Let's go to Kisumu. Thank you so much for watching. Good morning. Bye-bye. Okay, let's cross over to Kisumu, and they're standing by. Let's get to hear what's happening from the lakeside city where things happened, and now we get to hear more from the Western Spectrum. Let's go over to Kisumu.
Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. This is the Western Spectrum coming to you, of course, live from Kisumu County. Today is the 4th of May 2026. And if you're keen on dates, yesterday was the World Press Day. And of course, the day was commemorated across the globe and of course locally. But here in Kisumu, we shall be commemorating that day in a special way. Journalists from this region and especially the Kisumu Journalist Network will be gathering at the Blood Transfusion Center at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital to donate blood. And then, of course, thereafter we'll be planting trees. Of course, that is a small, kind gesture as journalists from this region that we can actually show to the community by being part and parcel of them, basically discarding our pain today to do good for the community. But coming back to what we are used to for doing every Monday morning 8 to 9, the Western Spectrum. Today we are discussing the first African Talent University that was given interim accreditation here in Kenya. And of course, we'll be talking about a man who has been behind that struggle for the last 2 decades. He's tried each and everything, knocked each and every door to ensure that indeed that happens. We'll be asking various questions, of course, starting from what the university portends for this region and, of course, Africa as a whole, but also what you need to actually join in that university. But more importantly, how then do we nurture and transform talent from what we are used to, just talent, into a money-minting venture, given, of course, the latitude of what we call formal employment is quickly shrinking. Professor Humphrey Obora, welcome to the set. African Talent University.
Right.
You've been fighting for this thing for a very long time. Finally, you've given interim accreditation. What does it mean?
Well, you know, in Africa, education had been standardized. And anything less than academic was viewed to be zero. Natural abilities, experiential potentials were seen as byproducts. Unfortunately, government determines trust and credibility. For government to accept, to accredit, and to allow such a university means the vast majority now can trust that talent, experience, and academics can coexist, and that true natural potentials can carry the currency of the next generation of Africans. May I make it clear at this very onset that talent is not comedy. Talent is not sports. Talent is not music, because the impression in most Africans is that talent is something to do with those. No, it's a lie. Talent is natural, God-given human metrics, and talent is measurable.
And probably that disconnect between realizing or actually knowing what talent is vis-a-vis what we actually as Africans or Kenyans know, what we call talent, of course, that running around with a ball, kicking a ball, and of course boxing. Has it contributed immensely in terms of us Africans not recognizing talent from the onset, and actually now what you're actually saying the past week, punishing our kids through the education system for things that they are not well good at?
I've put it, Simon, better than you've said it, because one, academics is a byproduct of talent. The origin is talent. The manifestation, or what we call nurturing, which means making sure that human metrics do have value in life. One of them is through academics. But then they standardized academics and forgot the origin of academics. It's a disaster. Today, we have children who only use their tongue to taste beer, to taste coffee, to taste wine. Now, if you go to EABL, you'll find people who are blindfolded. In about 10-15 minutes, they'll tell you the year of that brew, what it portends for the larger population, and if they are not there, you can't brew in bulk that wine. And in just those 10 minutes, you leave your 2M. That's how they earn their living. And if you wanted to make sure that you understand talent, that's a precise one, because where is the syllabus or curriculum for that one? The more you understand those kind of things, the more you understand a lot more things. When we started this journey in 1999, when I was in the UK, by the time I came back in about 2000, and we got the dialogue education in 2002, licensed by Professor George Setotu, who was then the Minister for Education, I know I disturbed the system. Those days I said a dropout can actually access a degree, and I looked stupid. And I said a D- guy could end up doing better than an A grade student, because the D- was not to do with natural abilities. It was to do with sickness, pregnancy, or natural disappointments in the learning process, which we don't take care of. There are girls that unfortunately get pregnant over December. The exam is the following year.
So, Prof, you are saying that the academic system as is, there are so many other external factors that actually contribute to the output ultimately in the national exams, and that alone cannot actually be used to gauge one's ability in so many spheres.
Said that the D minus and the D pluses end up employing the A's and the B's. And this is now the reason. You have to understand the reason. It is because the natural ability remains intact. It never changes. That's why the people who have natural potentials will drop out of mainstream education, will fight to find a window out to go and record their music, will go under the belly of a bus and set up a big clearing and forwarding company with a branch in Dubai and New York. I drop out. And our universities will send their own master degree students to do internship at the dropouts organization. And the dropout must sign that they're competent enough to graduate. But when the dropout goes to the same university and says, I'm the guy you send the master's degrees, then they tell him he's not qualified. Then you don't understand the meaning of education. There are mismatches that we do have in the learning process. So this university comes in to fill in that gap.
How then, before you just talk about the university, how then do we bring ourselves to the fact that a school dropout, a class 2 or class 3 or class 4, or even a high school dropout, can actually sit in a theater room and actually operate on a patient? How then do we change our mindset from the fact that someone who's actually never sat in a class of, let's say, engineering, can actually be at the apex of engineering organization and actually dictate to people who've actually sat in class for years, just trying to understand the nitty-gritties of engineering? How then do we actually, as a society, accept that? Because it is a long call for us to actually begin to accept that.
We do, and what we are advocated for are 3 modes of learning: talent-based, experiential, and academics, because academics still has its own value. But academics cannot be exclusive at the expense of talent, at the expense of experience. But for your question, I'll put it this way. In Baringo, we've seen over and over midwifery. For long in ages of civilization, people have done surgery. People have done midwifery. These people in the villages have delivered babies years and years. We could only perfect it, and that's the essence of learning. But let me put you in the engineering. I know at my parent university of Nairobi, the lift at the engineering department just broken. And they have to look for a person with no degree to repair it. This is truth. You know in your village, the person who makes the best roofs is not even a Form 4 leaver, but they make roofs. You go looking for them. This you know. You know in your village, a guy who never went past primary school is the electrician. He fixes these things, you know them. Now ask yourself a question. If the guy is already fixing electricity in the village, but is a primary school dropout, what is it that you're taking that guy to learn in the university? It is crime to ask somebody to learn what they already know. This is criminal. If he's the guy who makes the best roofs in the village, he interprets the architectural designs and he adds the tinge of creativity and innovation. What new thing are you going to train this person? And it is that mismatch that we do have. Now we do have, after 20 years struggle, that someone, people, an institution can understand that innate potential and translate it and equate it with traditional academics. So if you're a dropout, and I'm saying and repeating, if you're a dropout and you have shown your potential by doing things innately, uniquely, and sometimes with a tinge of rare abilities, I am telling you, your university is finally here. Today, a dropout, someone with low grades, but has potential with national abilities, we shall admit you. We shall admit you not just like that, but assessing what you have actually done or what you portend by assessment using new technology known as human anthropobiometry. Today, technology is with us. If you give me a 4 or 5-year-old child, I can tell you the potential of that child, from which I can excavate the GINA values. GINA is the SI unit for talent. Talent is measured using a unit called GINA, and an average human has 142 GINAs of talent. Those metric values, we convert them into credits. Under UNESCO 2005 protocol, credits are accumulated based on your natural abilities, based on your experiences, and also based on academics. So I'll give you an example. You have a diploma, but you went to work as a cashier. Finally, you're the branch manager of the bank. Your children are now 25 plus. Now you want to continue education because you left in the middle when you're a young man, or in your 40s or 50s. In the past, in the academics, they look at your diploma and tell you you have 2-3 more years to reach a degree. We're saying no. We have to know the current potential, the current value of this person. If you evaluated his experiences, if you evaluated his talent value, you'll get additional credits. A diploma is essentially 80 credits under that protocol. If through talent and through experiential values, we get additional 50 credits, he'll have 130 credits. Under that protocol, 150 credits makes a bachelor's degree. He will be only 20 credits shy of a degree. That means we shall give the person the benefit of constituting a project. That means a summary documentation of what he has done, where he's working. That project will summarize the value in the past and the value current. And it's the project we shall submit to the university, hence certification. And that means it might only take 1 or 2 months. Now you remember now, people didn't understand long ago.
Yeah, that's the question I want to ask you because, I'm looking at what you're explaining, and I'm already seeing trouble. Because when you started DALK several years back, right? And several organizations, organizations and of course politicians were part, or let me say high-profile Kenyans were part and parcel of the process, and the certification they got from those institutions, to a certain level, were not recognizable in our system, to the extent that even after by the time you went to court to actually find that ruling that was favorable to the institutions that you're actually running at the time, that is DALK, it was already too late for them. The question that I've asked and you've not answered comprehensively was, how as a community do we bring ourselves to the table and accept the fact that a Form 2 dropout can actually have these credits and hold a master's without going through the entire system of education? That is one. 2, how then as an employer do I accept the fact that Professor Humphrey dropped out in class 2, but he's actually going to head this organization because of the innate, everything that we've actually done, talent and everything that he has, and he's actually grown through the ranks, through the credits, and we feel that given his experience and everything, he can actually hold this position. As a community, how then do we bring ourselves to the table and accept that?
Someone, there is a difference, a union between knowledge and wisdom.
Yes.
if your knowledge was little, you have to have the wisdom to lift it to a new reality. And that starts with the government, and the government has started. The government actually accepted this long ago by changing from 844 to CBC, albeit wrongly. I've talked that before here. Now the government has accredited the Africa's first talent university, meaning, and the minister told me, as I received the certification, we know the journey you've come from. We expect you to be the pillar of this CBC. They know. It's not that they don't know, they know. If you know, as an African, that the Muzungu who holds a diploma runs Safaricom, do you believe that Michael Joseph had a PhD? Do you believe that people running those blue chip, those Muzungus, have even a degree? Some of them have just diplomas. But they do it so well. But in Africa, you believe so much in academics that the head of an institution must hold a PhD.
Must have papers.
You are
Papers
confused and you are losing. And you've lost for so long. And you've got to change. When new knowledge appears, you have to have the wisdom to lift that new knowledge. And you have to celebrate it and accommodate it and excel. We say in Africa, long ago, 60 years ago, Malaysia, Singapore, Japan, Korea were at the same economic level as Kenya. Now, they are more than 1,000% more than us. You are good at describing the problem, but you're not good at lifting off to find solutions. I can't tell you more than I've said.
Yeah. Then you have talked about the government actually being the first to actually accept the reality. One of the programs that the government is actually currently running is a certification of natural skills, what you'd call actually talent, right? And through NITA, of course, they are looking at very talented people, skilled people at the basic level. Those that have actually dropped out of school or have actually cleared school. However, they do not have certifications in their specific areas. Do you feel, as a person who's actually closely fought for skill and talent recognition in this country, do you feel that is a step in the right direction, and probably what needs to be done so that then we can actually further and ensure that these people, apart from just preparing them in terms of being able to access government what we call tenders or job opportunities, do you think we are actually doing it the right way in a manner that these people ultimately they're actually going to benefit as they're supposed to?
Two things the government has done. One, to realize that rote learning in the academics was not helpful. So there's an attempt within the CBC to change it within the basic education. And again, government, by realizing that people within Juakali sector are skilled, have knowledge, is another very great attempt. However, who were the people involved in these circumstances? These are the people I was with long ago and thought the ideas were good, but instead of incorporating those ideas, they decided to steal the idea and make it their own. And the problem lies there. And government need to know it's not enough to listen to people who parade new ideas which have copied from elsewhere by saying, give us, because they're in position, give us a proposal. I used to hear, give us a proposal. You give the proposal, the guy tries to mend it a little, but you know, there are things you can't mend. This one of NITA, they thought that by certifying Juakali people is beneficial for them because they'll now get government tenders. Let me ask you, Simon.
Yes.
You don't need mere certificates to get government tenders. I can even just have your portfolio and get a tender. In fact, if you're good enough, people have been going to those Juakali people and ordering things. It doesn't add any value to a Juakali person by just giving a certificate. It doesn't make sense.
Prof, the argument was that some of these tenders require specific qualifications, right?
So what should have been changed? Was it that that requirement, or which should have come first? The requirement should have been eased. You don't give somebody a certificate and that's it, that you're going to prove the part. After all, having the certificate, even those who had it are not getting jobs. That's the truth. So there's going to be an equilibrium. Everybody will now have the certificate and it doesn't get the tender anyway. You don't solve the problem that way. What should have happened would have been to recognize the potential of that person, and in every cohort understand what the mismatch was and how we could improve that person to do better. Let me give you an example. We've seen Asians come from India. They walk to Juakali sector and they see the potentials of those people. Then he builds a supermarket. He knows the people capable of doing the right things. So he gets the products of that person at a throwaway price with a little bit of improvement. And he sells it more than 100%. Who has done better? Is it what the government is doing by giving certificates of that person from India? We have a problem. Now, listen. Why government missed the point? Both CBC, and for your information, what is NITA, the guy who did that used to be at the Commission for Higher Education. Then he started by creating something called skills data, but I knew he was going to fail. When he failed, he started something called Kenya National Qualification Authority, which you have today. And now they're doing what is called RPL, recognition of prior learning. And I sat with the late Prime Minister, Raila Odinga, and I told him, and he understood me. It's not enough to give certificates. Good enough, you recognize and you give him certificate. Not bad, but it's just the 10, 20%. There is the real thing you have to do. Now, we have a tool that can excavate the true values for those people. It's called Matric. Okay? This has the potential to understand a 50-year-old when she was 8-year-old. I want you to understand this deeply. That you can be 50 and I can see you by reverse engineering when you are 8-year-old. And then I can see what you could have been. Then I can see what you're doing, and using technology, I can tell what is the additional value I can give in what you have and what else, thereby you can create new enterprises. That makes more sense than just giving certificates.
Having said that, Prof, because I wanted to say, reminding me of my lost opportunity. I'm probably 50 or 60, and you're telling me that probably I would have done well in this sphere. Probably it's too late to change much. However, what we can change now is the learning institutions that we have. And the question then I'm asking is that looking at the institutions of higher learning, they have been accused severally for churning out one half-baked candidates, graduates. Two, they've also been accused of engaging in theory, doing a lot of research, and most of that research, of course, just lies in the shelves to gather dust. What different thing are you bringing on the table with this African Talent University that will make me as a parent say, let me take my child to this organization and not follow this process that I've actually followed over the years and has left me with my child in the house?
Or even a basic teacher in high school, I see you as a talent spotter or identifier. There will be basic things you see in your children on a daily basis. Huyu mtoto na stima. Huyu mtoto na mawaya. Huyu mtoto anaimba sana, penda wimbo sana. Why? When they arrive, before I assess them, they will give me that background. You see where the government goes wrong. They imagine that talent spotting, identification, mtu anacheza mpira sana. atakuwa kama Ronaldo. Haje, hawezi kuwa mpaka apimwe. You cannot decide that somebody has malaria just because he has fever. Anatetemeka sana.
Na anatoka jasho sana.
No. Inaweza kuwa pneumonia. Pima kwanza. Hakikisha. Ni pneumonia because symptoms are the same. Talent spotting, identification are just symptoms, and symptoms can be a liar. You have to know the exact sickness. Please, there's no rush. And that's why tool and method are very important. Lazima upime na uhakikishe. Now, wewe umeona mtoto yako kuna kitu fulani na hii mtoto, and you're trying to push your child to do engineering, push your child to do medicine, but you're seeing this guy is a great dancer. You're seeing...
His parents say, tunasema, hii kucheza yako itakupeleka wapi? Soma vitabu.
Dunia hiyo michezo ndio future. Kubali sasa. Hiyo unaona ndio sasa future ya huyo. And today parents know this. Wewe unaona mtoto yako ni mzuri sana kwa vitu ya medicine, na vizuri umetumia pesa afanye medicine, grade imetoka C-. What do you do? Will you start now looking for something else? No. Kuja tupime, tuhakikishe, because C- might not represent your child. We've seen children with a D+ who are medical or engineering candidates. And we have had a report, change systems. This university is going to change systems. Having a D+ and having potential for engineering and medicine is very rife. It's not a lie. It happens. We have also those with A- grade. You want to fanya law, fanya engineering. But the guy is a great candidate for rugby. Rugby should be number 1. If you take the person to do law, engineering, they'll do it, but you are seeing this guy is saving his pocket money and spending more time in the field. Shortly, and without you knowing, he drops out of mainstream learning and now is a star in rugby. People forget. We see these things. We see these things.
True, Prof. I was looking at your argument and while you are in an institution, and you've also introduced the 3 pathways, right?
Yeah.
Similar to what we have with the CBE today. You were sat on this chair a couple of months back, and you really punched holes in the pathway system that has actually been introduced by the government. And you're even laughing at it and saying that ini nini wanafanya. I want to know how different your pathways process is different from what the government has introduced, and then how do we marry the pathways that were actually introduced to ensure that ultimately at the end of the 2 or 3 or 4 years, the students will actually be in institutions that will actually have a fully baked student or graduate coming out and actually being useful to the community.
When I sat here, I said, you don't just make a pathway by talking. Is it a pathway for elephants? Is it a pathway for antelopes? Is it a pathway for ants? If you make a pathway for antelopes and you expect elephant to pass there, they'll break the pathway. There's a truth. You have to know your pathway. What I'm talking about is not a pathway. I'm talking about 3 modes of learning.
Yes.
Talent-based, meaning you are assessed innate potentials on earth, and we do have a talent report, followed by a learning prescription. Now, listen. When we do assessment, we come out just like in hospital. In hospital, they come out with a medical report. But a medical report is not a solution. You have to go back to the doctor, and the doctor writes a prescription that solves the problem. Now listen again. We assess and we come up with a talent report, meaning we come out with your true, innate, and natural abilities, metric values. Then we interpret that into a learning prescription, meaning the prescription has what is it that we can use to enhance or to make good of those potentials, and how much does it cost from each. Now, each of those, we call them talent GINA tasks. So away from academics, which are syllabus or curriculum, we use a learning prescription. That's talent-based learning. And in the prescription, there'll be tasks, the GINA tasks. GINA task is not like any task. Have your tongue olfactory. What are the GINA tasks for it? Special assessors, special rubrics, people with good rubrics will produce them. Then you perform. After performing, we see the quality of what you produce in the real world, which is measurable in GINA credits. Now that's one way of learning. Then we have another. A person, probably a dropout, or even had a degree before, but then is coming back to mainstream learning. This person possesses what we call experiential credits, learned by the world. I am a girl who got pregnant at 16. I got married, and after being married, today I'm 24 years of age, still young, but I have 3 kids. That's life achievement. Life achievement. It has its value. Because this girl at 24 with 3 children is not the same as a girl at 24 without children. I have a person 24 years ago did BCom, but I had to raise my family first, so I've looked for a job as a cashier. Today I'm the branch manager of a bank. Now I want to go and do my master's. Will I go in class with children the age of my children? The answer is obvious, no. Why?
But that is happening now today in our education system.
And that's the wrong thing. Now let me tell you the right thing. If you evaluated the achievements of raising children, 24 years, and the work experience that lifted him from a cashier to a branch manager, you'll get a lot of credits. So this fellow doing a master's might, which having a degree is already 150, a master's is 220 by the international standards, okay? If you got another 50 credits, he'll be 200 credits down. Only 20 to go to a master's, meaning we wipe out the coursework. We remain only with a dissertation for 3 or 4 months. Now you understand why during that time I had a problem, because I understood this. They were saying, I'm looking for shortcuts for people. Now you see, it was not a shortcut. It was the understanding. If you have forgotten, there's one governor who was being accused, and the lawyer was, was very unwise in court. He was saying, what are you telling us? You didn't get a bachelor's, you had a diploma. How could you skip a bachelor's degree to get a master's? Because the lawyer did not understand. In the UK, they had, because that time she actually became a governor. In the UK, they understand the credit system. You have a diploma, but the additional credits take you direct to master's. It's possible to have a certificate and be taken straight to a master's. But in Kenya, from certificate, diploma, degree, then you don't understand. You are stuck in the old system.
We are stuck in the old
You are
system.
stuck and you are trouble for your own people, and they're not improving. The people who brought you education are not doing what you're doing. You're stuck with what you're given. Please, we have to change. Sorry.
True. Change is inevitable. Prof, looking at your explanation and specifically what you have put forward in terms of identifying talent in the institution and what needs to be done, so that then we don't have pathways, in your words, for elephants, for ants and antelopes. Yeah. And elephants might actually miss their way and actually use the ants pathway. It needs resources. Yeah. It needs that cognitive ability. It needs experience. How then do we move to that level as a country to ensure that we don't have one Africa Talent University in this country, but we have organizations and our institutions, learning institutions, can actually start recognizing this, because the government has actually embraced the pathways in terms of identifying talent quite early and saying that this is what we're going to do with these students. They're going to follow this pathway. Others are going to do STEM. Others are going to do arts, and others are going to do, social studies. How then what needs to be done as an expert in this or an experienced person in that particular field? What needs to be done? So then we put our institutions in a better position, and we just don't have talent, the African Talent University as a single institution in this country.
Two. One, in the beginning, we had a legal document. A legal document. There was no CBC when we started. When we started with Professor Douglas Odhiambo, it was only to align education with the 2010 Constitution. And what they wanted from me was to infuse quality matrices in the learning system. That was what was there. And we had documents, and I still see it on my laptop. How would we implement this? One of the things that we should have done was to embrace the concept of a talent university at the top, then trickle it down and have assessment unit, what we call talent clinics with the related academic clinics. You need to understand standard procedures of doing things. Without taking too much time, the government of the Republic of Kenya, through the minister, whom I like too much because he talked to me so nicely and very respectful, and seems to understand the problem. I have seen people before. I talked to Magoa, who was very arrogant and brushed off, and he got stuck with it. But I can see Migos Ogamba is very accommodative and understanding. That I must emphasize. Very understanding, and I think he's going places because I can see he sees the point. This is what you need to do. Cut off the cartels. Who are the cartels? Book publishers and the so-called consultants. Whenever a new regime comes, they say the last education system is bad. So that you look good, change the education system. In the meantime, they come with commission of inquiry, and then they put their people in the commission. Then they say a budget is money eaten. This happens every cycle. So we must stop this. Now that I'm speaking, because that time I was speaking, they're listening right now, I can tell you. They're copying. Then they'll come and say, yeah. It's only the implementation which was bad. Otherwise, it was good. They're lying. They're going to lie to the next one. Yes. I can tell you. Please, don't buy this. They'll say, we change CBC to something else. Please. CBC, even yourself, I ask you, what is CBC? What is CBC?
You tell me. You're the expert in the field.
No, you have not answered me.
No, you tell me. I'm here to ask you questions. So
tell me not to ask you. Everyone, trickle down. They'll never tell you what CBC is. Ask any Kenyan. They'll tell you only the meaning of C, B, and C. You'll never tell me what CBC is. Nobody can define it. One day I will. But I'll tell you something.
Why can't you do it now?
No, right away. But because you asked me another very important question, I need to answer that. Let us remain with the word CBC as a name. End of story. Let's not change anything again. But let's go back to the origin. Infusion of quality matrices in the learning system. We have the standard document. I will be meeting education officials. I'm a Kenyan and I have a duty. Kenya has accredited Africa's first talent university as a score. I want to work with the university, one, not as exclusive, but to be a standard to be used by colleges, by schools, by other universities. Apart from establishing the same university in all countries in Africa. Not the physical university as it is, because I'm one person. I cannot have the resources nor the time in life to do it in all countries. But I can use the idea to light the fire in others so that we have a change and leave a legacy for our children and grandchildren.
Children out there parents out there who are actually buying into your idea, and they're asking themselves, how do I get to the African Talent University? What are the qualifications? Do you just walk up and say in the morning and say, since I can actually sing very well, then I need to look for these institutions. Since I'm very good at wiring, then I need to look for these institutions. Since I'm very good at running, I need to look for these institutions. What are the procedures that can actually put you in a better place in terms of accessing some of these facilities so that then you can move to the next level?
The African Talent University main campus, but we have contact locations in Mombasa, in Nairobi, Nakuru, Eldoret, and Meru. In Kisumu, we are at a place called Bue, Molem, Nyamasaria area, along Kisumu, Kericho Road. In Nairobi, we are at Family Bank Building, Dagoretti Corner, 6th floor, opposite Meteorological Center. In Mombasa, we are at the Lutheran Parish offices.
What do we need to join this university? Because the buildings are all over, right?
Yeah.
But as a parent who's actually watching in the village,
yeah,
what do we need? Is it a matter of just walking because you feel you have, or we will walk in and then of course you'll use your machines to determine our pathways, or it will be based on what we can actually do as Kenya?
One, if you have grades, we still accept academics. But if your grades are low, don't run away, because you don't look at grades that much. If your grades are E, D minus, we shall still admit you, because
there's a chance for them.
No. We'll assess and find your other potentials, which grades could not discover. That's for your children. If you're an adult that left school long time ago because of those problems we've said before, and you have experience, your experience is already knowledge. We'll evaluate it and have it credit value. In both, we write a report. That report contains credits. That credit is transferable. Now, if you don't have grades, your talent report becomes your admission document. If you don't have grades and you have experience, your experiential report becomes your admission document. But if you have grades, we shall still admit you because still have the academic wing. And there are people who can do both. If you're good in academics and equally good in talent, why not? Why can't you get 2 degrees, 3 degrees at the same time? The more the merrier. You know, in Africa, people believe you choose. How about if you're good in 3? You know, in Kenya, we have a problem. How about a child who gets all straight A's? What's the career?
Becomes a jack of all trades. Bro, their number of students that actually went through your initial institutions, DAP, right?
Yes.
And I know the court ruled on this. However, there are others that actually were in these institutions, and given the negative publicity that was actually given at that time during those cases, right? Many will be asking themselves, where do we move from here?
Answer is very simple. Ladies and gentlemen, I fought the fight 20 years. I believed I was right. And you can see I'm right. Government has finally accepted that I was right. It had to take us to go to court. I know the case of the late Honorable Soita Standa and Ole Kores of Kajiado. People, they were very harassed. I'm sorry for them. We had to go to court, and you know we won in court. People don't know this, but people who wanted me not to be on the scene because they had stolen the idea to make CBC made it so hard. In the media, they blocked us. They paid bloggers to make sure that our names were tarnished and that we sank. They came to Bue, where I was building the university. They vandalized it. They burnt the Awazi Lands Office so that I don't get title deeds, because it's a requirement to become a university in Kenya. I am saying the 20-year battle is over. Please come back. You will be the first ones for me to provide you with those credit transfers.
Thank you very much, Prof. Prof. And I want to put it to you, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, of course, with our wider reach, and especially in rural areas, gives you the best platform to actually advertise your institution. So, of course, I'll be coming to you so that then we can actually work together, and especially for this program, right?
Thank you. How about that?
That is Professor Humphrey Obora, the founder of the founder and sponsor of the African Talent University, the first of its kind in this country. You know, of course, Kenya is a country of first. We always coming first in various spheres, and this is a very first African talent or the talent university in Africa, of course, spearheaded by Professor Humphrey Obora, who's actually been fighting this war for the last 20 years. And he says, of course, the war is now won, and we are moving into the next step. Of course, placed forward so many ideas on what the government needs to do, and of course stakeholders in the education sector need to do in terms of ensuring that indeed we move together in this journey towards ensuring that those that are skilled and talented at a very basic level, their talents and skills can actually be identified quite early, so that then they can actually become meaningful people in the future. This is a discussion that we will continue on our social media platforms at Chola Simon, on all our social media handles, and of course on Majenga digital platforms, of course, that it was also running this broadcast live, and of course also on KBC channel 1, all social media handles, and of course we'll also be following it keenly, so then we can actually bring you details as and when they unfold. Of course, Prof, in his true nature, has used some very strong words in some aspect. That those are not our words, but of course they are his, and he's actually personally responsible for it. And on behalf of the team that has actually made this possible, the Miraja Palace Hotel that continues to give us this space, so that then we can use it every Monday, 8 to 9. My colleagues, Christine Adiambo on the cameras and Martin Kibuti on the cameras, and of course my colleague from Mayenga FM, Philippa Miyawa. It's a thank you for us from Kisumu, and I take you back Broadcasting House for continuation of our normal programming.
Usalama wa watu wanaotembea kwa mguu. Tembea kwa usalama. Usijaribu kutembea mahali palipofurika. Tumia barabara za watembeaji wa miguu au vinjia vilivyoko kwenye mahali palipoinuka. Epuka mashimo ya kuondoa maji taka na mahali penye utelezi. Hakikisha unaonekana. Valia nguo zenye kung'aa nyakati za usiku. Kwa msaada wowote wa dharura, piga simu kwa nambari zilizoko kwenye runinga yako.
Hebu fikirie environment kama hii hapa Western Kenya. Eti mtu atatoka hapa aende Nairobi kusoma university to conquer the world. Mimi Andrew nitahakikisha hiyo ndoto imezimwa. Tazama hayo yote kwa Gundu KBC Tuesday to Thursday 7:30 p.m. Leo sio kesho.
Kitchen's big. Cooking? It's got everything. South-facing, big floor-to-ceiling windows. Take a look.
It kind of seems like you're living here too.
Does it?
What's wrong with your leg?
I was in a hurry. I tripped over.
It's New Year's. Why were you in a hurry?
Take it easy. It's not worth getting hurt.
Can't you stop looking at your phone? Everyone's eating. Why are you so busy?
Your girlfriend's gone. Forget about your stocks.
It's fine.
You're still watching Good Morning Kenya. Welcome back to KBC Channel 1. My name is Mike Migwi. Time now for Family Check. And today we are going to discuss the whole idea or the whole aspect of marriage. Now, marriage was once seen as a lifelong anchor, which was stable, unquestioned, and quite predictable. But today it has been challenged by things to do with economic pressures, changing gender roles, and also things that make the unions struggle to meet expectations. And so today we are asking the question, amidst all this, what is killing the union, the modern day marriage? That is the bedrock of our conversation today. And I'm having that conversation with Cleopa Njiro, who is a counseling psychologist. Karibu sana.
Thank you for having me once more.
And also William Deche, who is a psychologist. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
And also Kelvin Nyamache, who is a mentor, life coach and CEO of Edulite International. Karibu sana.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's dive into it. And I'll start with you, Cleopa. When you look at marriage today, what do you think is ailing it the most?
I would like to start by saying this. I'm bringing this program an exposure or contact with couples which spans for almost 40 years. Because 40 years ago, I did a program of 2 years on understanding fertility and supporting couples, either to achieve or to avoid pregnancy. And then all through, I accompanied couples during HIV/AIDS era. I also accompanied couples during COVID. I am that privileged. So when you look at that landscape, whatever is happening now has got an historical background. And then, as a therapist, I have also studied different approaches of looking at couples. And it's not only Kenya, but worldwide.
Yes.
There are people who have done research, scientific research, which says that there are those things that can determine whether a marriage will work or not. But there are also those things that can determine whether a marriage will survive. And so it's scientific. So what we see as data, or what people talk, is about the few which are not having good relationship. But we have quite a good number of people who are also enjoying married life. The only difference is there is a change, a transformation on how relationships are working and what is happening. So like in Kenya, when you look back when I was born some 62 years ago, we were about 8 million, thereabout. Today we were 53 million, over. So when you look at the two, and then the things that have come up, like the digital world, work, the communication moving from one place to another. So you cannot compare the marriage of 62 years ago and the marriage of today. But still, we have happy marriages.
Yes.
That's what I would want to start with. And there are scientific research that shows there are certain things like friendship, like sharing dreams, those things that can make marriages work. And when the people receive good preparation before marriage and continuous formation during marriage, then there are marriages that are working. But at the same time, there are marriages that are not working.
Good preparation before marriage. We'll come back to that. But William, you know, there's a narrative that marriage is under siege. In your opinion, are we witnessing a collapse of marriage or a redefining of it?
That's a very good question. I believe it's a redefining of it. We are evolving, and so is the dynamic of relationships and marriage. One would say that we are agents of free will, but we are byproducts of social influence, financial and the latter. So we see that we are entering a new age of individualism rather than commitment. We focus on our self-fulfillment to a greater deal. And that counters the whole idea of the marriage value, togetherness, commitment, having to sacrifice or compromise for another individual. So I do believe this is part of the process, really. It's transformation at its best, and we are yet to acknowledge that. I feel we fixate too much on looking at how it's devolving or how it's rotting, but it's not that it's rotting per se. It's just part of progress. Yeah.
Part of progress, which is very interesting. I don't know what, Kelvin, you think about the aspect of marriage nowadays becoming redefined. What do you make of it?
Yeah, as my brother here has observed, we are devolving, we are progressing. But let's go back to the days of yore. Marriage has always been under siege. Immediately God sanctified marriage, and he gave it a very strategic blessing. Satan knew this is the place now where I'm going to focus. And, you know, it became, the enemy was there immediately, it was sanctified. But now when you look at the contemporary days, things have changed because now we have the emergency of things like social media. People now feel like in the past they were caught in some kind of a cocoon, and they want to get out of those chains. And for that reason, they people are trying now to focus more on the individual than focusing on marriage as an entity. And that is the major reason as to why we observe that marriage, as much as is being redefined, the institution in itself is plodding in the ditch. Yes.
Cleopa, you mentioned something to do with the preparation before marriage, especially for people who want to get into that institution. Walk us through that.
The preparation starts from birth. You know, we learn marriage as we are being breastfed and as we grow up. So that is the remote preparation. Then there is like the rites of passage. During that time, boys, girls are helped to understand, especially today because there are some areas where we are talking for girls, alternative rites of passage, and for boys, there is now a rite of passage which is done by professional experts, where boys are helped to understand friendship, to understand matters of human sexuality in the right way. That is still preparation for marriage. Then there is the immediate preparation for marriage, where a couple visit a therapist, a marriage and family therapist. And here we have to note a difference. Because sometimes you may go for marriage preparation, which is not actually touching on the aspects of marriage. What are you getting into? You are two different people with different personalities. How do you deal with that? You are two different people with two different backgrounds. How would that play part in it? There is issues of conflict. How do you handle conflict in marriage? There are issues of finances. And there is all those things that are good, well-trained marriage and family therapists will take you through not less than 10 sessions for people who are committed. But now what we see around is people meet, and within the second day, they are acting like they are already married because they are doing those things that partake to marriage, but they have not had any preparation. So for me, I feel it is good to start appreciating we have therapists who have sound and grounded preparation to help people negotiate and prepare for that. And then also prepare on how do they make friendships. How do they resolve conflict, disagreement, because they will be there, and some are there to stay. How do they walk the journey of shared dreams? Like, can they talk? Where will we be in the next 2-3 years? What are we looking for if we have to settle down in friendship, in marriage? You know, those are skills that need to be taught, not just imagined. So that is what preparation for marriage. And it's gradual. It starts from what is happening in our marriages today, because the children are observing and they are running, and then all through up to immediate. Then after that, there is also follow-up. When you stay together now, you come to the real issue. Whom do you see when conflict comes? Whom do you see when difficulties start coming? That's where now marriage and family therapy is becoming key worldwide. And we have people specially trained to handle and to understand the theories and the approaches, different approaches of helping couples.
Yes. That is very profound. Wow. But then again, there's this question, William. When you look at couples today who are getting or intending to get into marriage, do they really define what is bringing them to that point? Like, do they understand where they are coming together?
Well, that's a very interesting question, because it helps us reflect on the nature of commitment that is always there. We come together, we have a unique understanding in regards to expectations. And we tend to work through the whole process. However, we get to have a tendency on where we see that someone gets into a relationship, they haven't really gotten a proper feel of the nature of the relationship or how they want to take it through. And we see instant detachment that comes with it. And I believe this is all part of the transformation I was talking about, because now we are off from the one rule or the monotonous rule of marriage, where sticking there all the way to the finish. We think, okay, I have different alternative options to reflect on and go to. And that puts away that one-size-fits-all perspective of the marriage.
Yeah. And which is very interesting, Kelvin.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at marriages today, are they ending because people are less committed, or it's because they are no longer willing to tolerate unhappiness?
First of all, one of the major reasons as to why the modern marriages are ending is because most couples enter marriages with their own kind of conflicting ideas on what that marriage can become. Others are fearful, you know, they have looked at their friends, what's going on, and they feel like this thing might not work. Others go through social media, and every day when you surf through social media feeds, you realize that there are many people who have negative views on marriage. So you get into marriage expecting also to encounter such a kind of experience in your own marriage. When you get into marriage with a negative mindset, there are very high chances that you will sink into the abyss of the enemy, because it won't work. Marriage has never been a walk in the park. It's not a bed of roses. Two people, two strangers, meet together and they find ways on how they can work together, because these people have a different background, they have different training, they have a different way of seeing things, they have different personalities. So it's a matter of complementing each other, seeing how, understanding the other person. You also get to understand yourself, so that you find a common ground with which you'll work moving forwards.
You know, there's also the aspect of unrealistic expectations. And, you know, there are expectations that marriage is supposed to meet to deliver, say, love, friendships, personal growth. Is this too much to be expected from one person?
I would start by saying it's healthy to go into marriage with expectations. But how you go about it? Expectations are, I have my needs, you have my needs. How do I ensure that my needs are met? How do I communicate that without making you feel like you are the one who is not meeting my needs? So we get in with, and it's okay to expect care, to accept love, to accept someone to be concerned about your well-being. But now how you go about it is the whole issue. So the thing is, there are those expectations when you go to ask for them, you are using the other person. You are attacking the personality of the other person. But you are not expressing the I Actually, there's a school we were teaching people before until recently. I came through a person who has been doing a lot of research for about 40 years about marriage.
Yes.
Before in therapy or in counseling, we were telling people, start with, I feel when you do this, and I want you to do this. That's what we were teaching people. But this person shocked me the other day. I need to say, I feel, and I need, and I would want this from you. So it is 3 I, not 1 I, then you. So running some of these skills. So what is the problem is we are not given emotional skills, emotional coaching, which means from children. I'm going back to how we parent. We give our children emotional coaching, how they express their needs, how they get aware of their emotions, how they ask them. So getting into marriage is okay to have expectations, but how you ask for those expectations is what matters. So that's why people, when they go to therapy, they are helped on communication, understanding the other person, to be empathic, to ask the right questions, like open-ended questions, to share about yourself. And this goes across board. What we do at our places of work, that's why when we train people, even in corporate world, how they are supposed to communicate with each other. Then when they go home, that is what they communicate with their children, with their spouses, and that's how they will ask to meet their needs. The way you ask your partner is the way also when you are in a work environment, you do the same. So emotional skills are cut across. So what we are lacking, especially our system in Kenya, is such that we are more into IQ, intellectual, but we have not been helped to acquire emotional skills of how do I say this is how I feel, and this is the reasons I'm feeling this way, and this is what I would want to happen so that this need, this expectation is met. So there is our own training we need to give to people, and we need to do it across the board, in our schools, in our churches, and I wish every person, even in our churches, should start appreciating the value of skills, the value of knowledge, the value of research work, because we are all scholars, but unfortunately, we engage people and we do not see, do this person have what it takes? Has this person be rigorous in his studies on a given field? Even when you are going for counseling, you need to find out what's the background, so that we know at what level can this person assist you. So this is where now we need more education, more information, so that we may know how to make relationships, basically at work, even friendships, boyfriend, girlfriend, for young people, what do they expect to know? Tell them the truth. Don't just tell them, your time is not yet. Which time? They are still friends. So have the skills, emotional skills. How do boys respect girls? How do girls respect boys? And that's how when they grow up, they get married, they will know how to respect women, how to respect men, and what to expect, because we have helped them as they grow up.
So, William, from what Cleopa is saying, this needs to be a process where even, that includes even family therapy sessions. Would that work?
Yes, to a greater deal, because everyone needs to have knowledge about something. Marriage, as people say, is not an easy thing.
Yes.
But if you have an understanding of certain steps, emotional intelligence being part of it, it can go quite a while. Especially, I'd like to echo aspects of communication in marriage. That is one factor of a healthy relationship, communication. Not a passive-based communication on which you simply scrub it under the rug, or aggressive, it's my way or the highway, but rather assertive, a balance, and especially when it comes to consideration and compromise. You get to understand, okay, I cannot do this now, but I can assure you if we take certain steps ahead, I can take go ahead and progress to where I need to get to. If we have that sense of knowledge, if we slowly take this aspect of therapy with progression, especially from a marriage perspective, then we are going to see more enlightened and empowered individuals stepping into the marriage, where they get to understand, once I come in, there's a sense of vulnerability. How should I address this aspect of vulnerability instead of simply causing more damage once you march into the marriage and there's a lot of criticism. There's bound to be a lapse at that point.
Kelvin, when you look at compromise in a marriage setup, is it becoming too much of an expectation to meet?
Yeah, because most partners view themselves as the hero or the heroine of the relationship. And for that reason, they are not ready to listen to the other party because they feel that the other party has no knowledge about this subject matter, and for that reason, I don't even need to compromise. And as my dear friends have observed, most people are in marriage, but they don't have the knowledge of the nitty-gritties they envisage to, to expect in that setup. They are in marriage, but they're trying to see whether it can work.
There's no open communication.
There is no open communication at all. They're trying to see whether it can work. And when one couple makes a mistake and the other couple tries to correct them, they feel like they are being looked down upon. Don't you see I am the man? And the man should be the head of the family, and for that reason, there's nothing you should tell me. And if it's a lady, why are you talking to me like that? You are the one who's in the wrong. You're the one who doesn't know these things. So people don't want to compromise, and it comes down to communication. Communication is very pertinent in a relationship, and the major reason as to why most relationships are plodding in the ditch. People don't know how to communicate. They shout to each other, they talk to each other, but they never understand each other. And that's the reason as to why I always tell people that if you don't understand, if you're not good at communication, it's not a mistake for you to go and perhaps seek for classes where you can learn on how to communicate, because communication starts with how you look at your partner, the gestures, the tone, the voice projection, and all this. If we can all learn, issues around that subject, then I tend to believe that even compromising in a marriage setup can become now a walk in the park. Yes.
And Cleopa, when you look at communication in the setting of marriage, what leads to its breakdown?
Many things come into play. The first thing is our own background and some of the experiences that we have gone through. People have gone through traumatic experiences. Some people have also witnessed other people having violence as they grew up. And then, because of that, when someone says something to you, the way you react, you may react based on your experiences in the past. There is also the general way that people talk to each other. Because communication, is a wide thing.
Yes.
And it requires a lot of skills, like things like respect, being genuine, understanding what the other person is saying and why they are saying what they are saying. So there are a lot of things that have to do with the attitude as you are communicating, so that the message you want to pass, it can be passed well. Then there are also skills like reasoning, asking questions, observing the non-verbal, what the person is like. All these are the areas of communication. And so communication breakdown is when maybe someone is going through his or her own issues, or someone is going through a challenge in life, And because of that, they may not be themselves. So they are not ready to reason. They are not even hearing what the other person is saying. And so that is a breakdown of communication. Then the training itself, how we've been coached, how we've been helped as we grew up, how the society, because also the society is telling us how we communicate to each other.
Yes.
Like in the social media, how people are talking. Even in the news, how people are saying things. All these things are teaching people about communication. So in a relationship, communication breakdown could come because of so many factors, expectations, which you are not saying what you really expect, your past. Someone does something and it reminds you of your parent who used to shout at you, and you have never dealt with that because you have never gone for personal therapy. And because of that, you broke or you keep off, you emotionally disconnect.
So even childhood traumas play a part.
A great part. When you are being breastfed, how your mother is talking, the things that are happening around you is being registered in the brain. It's something that goes there. So when you are old, someone says something, it takes the brain to that map that was there. It's like a GPS. That's why all this journey is very important. And that's why therapy, we not only look at what's happening in the marriage, we are looking at how have you grown, because that forms the persona now, the person. And we help you to deal with those traumas. But there are major traumatic experiences. Like if you are involved in an accident where many people die and you are the only person who has survived. You have gone through a major loss, like the loss of a parent, a brother, or a child, or a wife. You know, all those losses, they still have some emotions in you.
Yes.
So when you are communicating, when someone is talking to you, your brain goes to that trauma. So you need trauma therapy to be helped to come out of that. So therapy is all out. So when you think of marriage therapy, it's not only the couple coming there and talking about infidelity, about finances. It's looking at that person deeply. So when they come to us, we can separate. Yes, there is breakdown of communication. What is the root cause? What are the underlying issues? And then we walk you through the journey. So you could come for marriage therapy, but I sense here there is traumatic experience. Here there is a loss, maybe a job loss or something. First of all, let us deal with that first.
Yes.
And then from there, we come into communication now in marriage, so that it's a healthy person communicating with another healthy person. So we need to look at the whole person, because you bring into a relationship the who you are, not part of yourself. So communication is very wide.
And that makes one look in retrospection about themselves when they're getting into marriage. William, you know, there's matters to do with divorce, the exit culture. To what extent do you think it has contributed to the lack of resilience in marriages, modern day marriages?
Well, to a greater deal, because now we are getting to see individuals not withstand any stressful situation for a long time period. Back in the day, we'd get to hear from our parents and so on, when I was in marriage, there was a lot of turmoil, but we always stuck in there. Which leaves the question, did you stick in there because you had an option, or did you not have an option? It makes us want to challenge the ideas of resilience. We're doing it just to portray availability or acceptance in societal expectation? Or are we just doing it for the sake of doing it? Is it something that is coming from within? So it is highly necessary for us to come to terms with the fact that with divorce, it is something that is a reflection of probably something went wrong within the family or marriage and so on. So that was an exit strategy. At that point, is it an exit strategy because it's an extremely bad thing to view, or is it simply the fact that people are now getting to understand that they have a way out of stress? Yeah.
Indeed. You know, Kelvin.
Yes, yes.
How do we make, and actually this is a question I'm going to ask you, all of you, and I'm taking it as your closing remarks. How do we make modern day marriage stand and remain resilient?
Let's go back to the roots. As much as we are trying to run away from the ways our forefathers used to view marriage, and we are trying now to fit in the contemporary realities, let's go back to the roots. In the past, it was common for parents to prepare their children from that tender age for marriage. As young girls, young boys were trained differently on the things that they are to expect when they get into that role. This morning I received a call from one Obino Nyambane. He's a culture guru from Kisii, and he had seen that poster, and he told me, Kelvin, please go there and talk about culture. I mean, as Africans, we had our own identity and our own heritage. In their own wisdom, our forefathers had looked into the institution of marriage, and they thought that for marriage to work, there are things that must be put into perspective. For instance, you had to train them on how to cook, you had to train them on how to communicate. Women were to be taught about the chemistry of a man, the man was to be taught about the chemistry of the woman. So when you get into marriage, you already know how to treat your partner, and your partner as well also knows how to treat you. So if we learn those things, and then we also learn the realities of the time, because the times have also changed and the pressures are many, we will find a balance on how we gonna earmark this journey moving forward.
Indeed. Cleopa, in 30 seconds, how do we make marriages resilient?
It is, we need to prepare people, we need to work, and we need to rely on experts so that they can help people to have the knowledge, the skills, the right attitudes towards marriage, and it needs to be taken seriously by all sectors of our society, from the leaders, from the church. And I really appreciate you giving us this opportunity, because media will also play, and media to help people to see the reality and things that are scientifically proven that would help people start good relationships, good marriages, and let's give hope, because there are good marriages out there. Over 50% of people are living happy marriages. So let us try to bring that one in the open.
William?
Well, I think mine is simple. Conscious awareness is key. This is where we're going for. We're training, we're learning all these things. You can't enter the vicinity of a marriage or relationship if you're not consciously aware, because you'll end up hurting the other person, or you'll end up causing a lot of destruction. So being there, being in the present, being in the then and now is highly necessary.
You know, this topic of marriage is a very wide topic, because we need to cover matters to do with culture, social media. Those are aspects that the conversation will continue doing. And I have been talking to Cleopa Njiro, who is a counseling psychologist, Kevin Nyamache, who is a mentor and a life coach and a CEO Edulite International, and William Deche, who is also a psychologist. This conversation ends now, but remember, you can continue the conversation on our social media platform. We are at KBC Channel 1 on all our social media platform. Good morning, Kenya. Today takes a bow. See you tomorrow. My name is Mike Migwe. Up next is Sports Check. Stay with us.
Mbona mmefunga choo?
Ona tubungulia mubungwi.
Munipaie kare. Wewe.
Atafuta waiter. Umesema umeitana mara ngapi? Mara kama 6 hivi. Enda itana zingine 7.
Hiyo kunieka yote. Kimbia. Huko ni kupaya. Mbona unaletea chai na baridi hivyo? Ni nini inaendelea hapa kwa hii hoteli? Ni nini mbaya na wewe?
Watu wanaongezwa misaara, wanaongezwa, wewe unaona sisi
shida yenu ni nini aswa? Sasa ngoja nije polisi. Polisi ndio wanakuja kuamua.
Ati nini?
Are you ready for the next big thing in tech? Well, we'll spotlight Kenya's brightest young minds, game-changing startups, and breakthrough technology that are shaping our future. From AI and robotics to sustainable futures, we bring you the stories behind the scenes. KBC Channel 1. Remember, tech starts here.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Yeah, today during the morning we are at the Parklands Sports Club, and of course here I meet the legendary Prince Mukuka. He's been there, done that in squash. In all these stars that you see here, talking about squash, and actually we celebrate him. And today we joined him when he's coaching the team to the Commonwealth Games, and he's doing that. So just continue.
Tighter, keep it tight. Straight.
That was good, Prince. You know
Yes.
you have been playing for so long.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
haven't never shared your story.
Yes.
Today is the best day to share your story.
Yes.
Yeah, tell me about your story. How did it all start?
Well, I started when I was 4 years old. I used to play with my siblings. I never took squash very seriously. I was more into tennis. So what happened was, where I came from, we used to have the sports recreation, whereby the squash courts were just next to the tennis courts. So what used to happen was, whenever it's raining, we used to run to the squash courts to play with tennis rackets. So yeah, that is how I picked it up, together with my siblings, but I never wanted to be playing with them because they were too good. And you know, being a boy, you don't want to be losing from the girls. So that is exactly what happened.
Yeah, most people always ask me, are you a Kenyan? Are you a citizen? I've met you here for quite a long time. So.
Well, I've lived here for quite some time. Then at some point I had to go to England. That is where I did all my coaching courses. I played professional squash from there. Then I became Kenya #1 for 8 years. I was an 8-time champion. Yeah, that's what happened. But within that, I also used to travel to so many countries to compete. And actually my first international tournament that I won was in Nigeria. Yeah, I won $5,000. I didn't expect it. Yeah, but it happened. Actually, I won that twice. Then I won also in Malawi, about $3,000. I've won Malawi Open 3 times. I've won Nigerian Open 2 times. Then I won Namibian Open 2 times as well.
Briefly take us through the events that you remember most memorable.
Well, yeah, actually,